up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Super M, and we are back with another episode of Scrubs to Dubs. I'm picking it up right back where I left off yesterday with a little high-flying action, learning some Asuka. Wanted to sit down and talk to y'all for a little bit. Oh, hold up! I ain't got my tournament on. Let me go ahead and we'll put this tournament back on here, right here, real quick. There we go. Chrome. Don't know what's up with Chrome. There we go. I think there we go. Now we got some. Now we got some of that judo. Not judo. Aikido. Let me go ahead and pop that back up in there. I guess it just. I gotta actually be watching it these days. It won't let me won't let me do the things, but it's okay. So let me just go ahead and jump up on Twitch real quick. Let's go. So how y'all doing today, man? On this most auspicious of days. It's a very auspicious day. One of my favorite holidays, you know what I mean? So you know, let's get it on and pop it, dude. Now I did promise y'all that I was gonna make a streets version of Asuka, and I did promise y'all that I was gonna learn Asuka on the stream strictly. So there has been no more developments with Asuka since yesterday. So I am just as scrubby yesterday, or just as scrubby today as I was yesterday. So you know, it's if you came looking for, where's my channel? Okay, I'm about to say I'm trying to get on my channel here. Good Game TV was good. Hey, I know you said you working and everything, but if you ever wanted to jump in a little dojo and work on some stuff, you let me know. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead. I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that happened today. Nothing too heavy, you know what I mean? Just, I saw some stuff in the Scrubs to Dubs, Denizens of Scrub City Facebook group. We had some good discussions. I wanted to kind of bring some of those things up here while we get ready to jump into some Asuka here, because a couple of things. Just want to let you guys know. Hey, one, today we're going to be back in the dojo. That means a bunch of training today, a bunch of training and chatting, me messing up, me trying to explain what I'm doing. Today, we coming up in here, and we're just going to work on some offense. We're going to work on some offensive setups. We're going to work on some throw setups. Like how I want to play Asuka is basically I want to throw people a bunch. So I'm going to try to set up some throwing. I'm going to try to set up some I definitely have to get some combos down. We're going to go looking through some combo training. We're going to do some combo games real quick. But I wanted to bring up a little something that I saw earlier today. So now, GenX.TV had an article. Let me see if I can actually bring this up here, because if I can, that would be great. So let me go ahead and actually try to bring this up, so you guys can actually see that on here, and we'll read this article together. So let's see. Where was it? Here we go. Street Fighter Pro. I know we don't talk a lot about Street Fighter here on this channel, but let me actually appreciate that, my G. Let me go ahead and turn that down a little bit. It's hitting a little higher than my audio right now. We're gonna put the music back up, super duper hype, a little later on. But how does that sound for you, boy? When we get this new sound upgrade, it's gonna be lit. Okay, don't have the PlayStation set up. Gonna set up tomorrow after you finish the TV stand. All right, Bob the Builder, I see you out there. Go ahead and put in that good work. Much better. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna get these audio levels set up sooner or later. But let's check this article out. And I want to hear what you think about this, GGTV. So, Street Fighter Pro Momochi complains about aging pros dominating the game. Now, just off of this title alone, just off of the title alone, I don't know. I never thought somebody would be complaining about the old man knowledge. We always complain about the young man reactions, right? you know, oh yeah, no, definitely. We're gonna look into those artists after the stream today, and I'm gonna be reaching out to them between this week and next week because I really want to start getting the ball rolling on that. Appreciate you again. Shout outs to Good Game TV for all the support. You know what I'm saying? I love it. So, Street Fighter Pro Momochi complains about aging pros dominating the game. Right? I honestly never thought that I would be here to hear this. So I always thought, okay, this is a very interesting point of view here. So we scroll down. It says that, all right, the shelf life of an esports pro is usually relatively low. However, in fighting games, it's uncommon to see veterans still. It's not uncommon to see veterans still maintain themselves as top players well into their 30s. Umahara Daigo is the first one that comes to mind. Takedo is another one that comes to mind. If we're just talking about Street Fighter, I mean, the list goes on. I'm pretty sure for Yusuke Momochi, the legendary Street Fighter pro who boasts victories at Capcom Cup and EVO, a lack of younger talent populating the Street Fighter scene is worrisome amid the start of the Capcom Pro Tour 2021. Now, as we all know, when you have a community growing, not having new blood to kind of feed into that community is always very foreboding for the future of said community. So far so good. I don't really see any, problems here. So Momochi qualified for top 8 of the Japan 1 event, looking for a spot in next year's Capcom Cup, was the youngest player on the loser's side of the bracket at 35. The youngest player on loser's side was 35. I didn't know Momochi was my age. I complain about being old. I ain't got no excuse. These old men out here running things. All right, with veterans like Fudo at 35, of course, Fudo is my age. Itabashi Zangief, one of my favorite Street Fighter players, 39. Umahara Daigo, 39 as well. You know what I'm saying? We shouted out Daigo earlier. But yeah, I'm the youngest guy in losers. This industry is dangerous. Is there a future? I'm worried. This is a fighting game tournament full of old men, Momochi explained after his event on his Twitch stream. Very candid words there by Momochi. I have questions. Okay, so let's see what else he says. So the Japanese pro has a unique insight as both a player and the CEO and co-owner of Shinobiism, alongside fellow Street Fighter player and wife Yuko Chocoblanca Momochi. Look at both of them. Look at both of them in this picture. That's love right there. The pair strive to spark interest in Street Fighter and fighting games in general, so it seems Yusuke's frustration at the lack of new talent stems from his desire to see the scene evolve. And so far, so good. It's real wholesome, The rest of Japan 1 qualifier included veteran fighting game god Hajime Takedo Taniguchi, right? And Kenryu Mago Hayashi. Adding to Momochi's valid complaints that as only 2 players are considered new bloods, Ryota John Takeuchi and Masaki Kawano. Hope I didn't butcher those names, but there are potential pro players gravitating towards other fighting games like Smash Ultimate, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ. I don't know, it's hard to say. However, it's clear Capcom has a pending task they'll need to address with Street Fighter 6, a title that needs to attract the attention of the youth if we want to see the next generation of competitors to take center stage. Now, this is a very interesting article to me. On our page, we had a spirited discussion amongst many people with various different types of experience in fighting game communities, right? And we talked about we were having a discussion about, like, it kind of meandered into whether esports versus FGC is a thing and yada yada yada. But one of the points that we kind of harped on for a little bit, at least in split discussions, was the fact that communities definitely want to grow, right? And not seeing new blood or not seeing the FGC grow is a very troubling thing, because a lot of people want the scene to succeed. They want playing fighting games to be successful or to be fun, and others just want to keep it like how it is. They're like, it's successful already. 2 very valid points. We're not going to get into that here. But Momochi, though, bringing some interesting points. So, one, a scene full of old men, martial arts film perspective, right? I couldn't physically go out there and beat up a bunch of people, so I wanted to do it digitally, right? Which for me was, it's pretty interesting. So the idea of an old kung fu man, you know, gray and aged with wisdom and technique and secret tech that you don't know about is actually kind of appealing to me. I kind of think for me, on brand wise, I think it goes, you know, hand in hand, right? The old guys, Ben Gay aside, you know, to get the joints, you know, working, they don't. I don't think there's not a place for them. Though there is a problem that there aren't new blood coming in. Somebody needs to get to that, because they definitely not going to MK. You know, I don't see any rapid switching of players to other games. So what are they doing? You know, what's going on? Is it that playing Street Fighter isn't fun for people anymore? Are the younger kids wanting something new? Hey, maybe this League of Legends game will bring something new. Let's check in what the chat has to say. So, I think Good Game TV says, I think it's a disaster because most times companies want to appeal to the kids and it gets wonky. That's a very good point, right? You know, you don't want to appeal to the kids because they don't even know what they want, right? You have to present something, then they hop on it, right? You have to be and this is one of those articles that could lead them to wanting to do just that. And that is a very valid point, Good Game TV. I think that is a very real risk that we face, right? And we see fighting game developers taking new avenues towards fighting games even right now, right? The new mantra is what? Simple to play, hard to master, right? They want to reduce the execution barrier down to welcome new people in. That's how they see it. It's too hard. It's too hardcore. There's too many people that just, you know, have to be this type of mindset of person to succeed in this, right? And then you have those who are just like, no, we just need to bring more people into what is already there. I think that's kind of like the two halves, right? Do we lower the what it is to meet other people, or do we give people the ladders to bring them up to meet what it is? You know, and I think in any good balancing situation, it's never one or the other, right? It's a little bit of both. And I think Tekken 7 does a really good job of that. If I'm being honest, I really think it does a good job of that. The game is not incredibly hard once you learn into it. It's just you have to fight this wall of legacy. It's been around for so long that all the stuff presented to you today, I mean, there's a wealth of knowledge. But that brings depth, right? That brings flavor to the ramen broth, right? So I think think of it like an MMO, right? You definitely want it to be easy to get into and fun for all of your friends, but you definitely want that end game content. You feel me? And I think competitive fighting games brings that end game content. Legacy games and mechanics that are tough to master bring that, because the difficulty in what you're playing is different from like other games. You know, like those techniques hard to pull off, like resemble hard to pull off techniques in real life. You have to be amazing in skill to actually do those moves, and that's why we're like, ooh, did you see that? My boy, that was a one frame link. Yes, because not the average person can do that, which gives that sense of athleticism to the game. I definitely think that should be pushed a little further, and there should be a little easier part to get into for new people. But then there has to be an onboarding path to get there. And the community, like we've talked about before, has been doing a really good job of providing more resources with the advent of the internet. A lot of guides out there, a lot of community help trying to get new players into the game. But, you know, the developers can also do their part, which is going to bring me to another article on Scrubs to Dubs here. And so I posted another article, shout outs to the community, man. They really kind of helped it out. So this is what I'm talking about here, about the developers potentially doing their part to help kind of get that onboarding process, you know. One of the things they could do is really kind of backtrack and start providing tutorials that makes sense mechanic-wise just in games. Like, I think a lot of the things that I do here on the stream, I try to gear it towards newer people. I'm still too high altitude for a lot of the people who could potentially get into this game, the new blood, right? They don't understand the importance of high, mids, and lows and why you should block things correctly. Those aren't even in tutorials. At least that's what I thought, until my boy Jonathan came in and showed me this early this morning. And look at this, right? So Wireman on Twitter. Shout out to @WiremanFGC. Things I learned in the first 2 hours of playing Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution trial/tutorial that some games never teach you, right? This is just one of those things, right? That's just a problem, and that I keep telling people, fighting games are like buying a game that you, I don't know if they just don't understand. I think people just don't want to do it. I ran into a lot of people who have no idea what we're talking about on this channel. They would listen to us and they're like, you're spitting out terminology that I didn't even know was a term. I often hear it's too hard. Yeah, no, too hard is definitely the general blanket excuse, right? They're too hard. And then we have to think, well, MOBAs are hard. Do those same people play MOBAs, right? First-person shooters, to me, are too damn hard. That's why I don't play them. But it's not really that they're too hard, right? It's that I am not good at the basic mechanics. And up until 2 years ago, I didn't even know there were learnable basic mechanics. And I'm 35. So it could be ignorance, right? They're just unaware of that there is a game that we're playing. No one understands what footsies is, because there's no rule book or manual that says in this fighting game you will be playing something called footsies, and it's the art of vying for space and landing the first. No one, that's not packaged into the game, and I personally feel that's a bit weird, especially since fighting games are so prevalent right now, right? Like, I've been through a lot of tutorials, and I had to go elsewhere to learn the concepts that I'm talking about. I do know some, yeah, dog, man, of course, jump in on Discord, dog. This is the just chatting part. I thought it was very weird that you were chatting through chat, but let me jump on Discord, because you already know this is about to be something that we're gonna go back and forth on, and I like it, because this is the kind of stuff. I'm on Discord and chat. I'm jumping on right now. Let me get you on here, dog. You already know, man. I have been waiting, because like, talking amongst ourselves is one thing, but I definitely think that conversations like this are healthy to have, because they're just fun, man. There's a lot, and let's see, I'm jumping in. Karine, what's good? We just not getting into a discussion here in this 420 day. How you doing? So we're gonna get into this conversation here that sparked from. Let me jump in with GG Cap. Cap, can you hear me on the mic? Hold on, wait. Let me make sure. Let me make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. Can you hear me?
Yep. All right. So let me close this down here.
Turn me up just a little bit too.
Okay, let me get you, because I sometimes have to turn D-Weave down because he be loud, and then sometimes he don't be loud. So let me adjust this mix here. Well, like I said, we're gonna get that super duper sound upgrade in a little bit. But let me turn this down so I can turn you up, because it's all coming through one source here. Alright, Cap, give me some audio.
Check.
Check 1 2. I think you sound good. Your levels look good.
Alright, cool.
Hey, Karine, I'm telling you right now, 420 is my favorite holiday, and I'm not even gonna sit here and fake a funk like I ain't out here feeling higher than a bird right now. Flame just floating in the sky. It's feeling really good. And on this auspicious of days, I decided to bring up this article here because I think that it's a good thing here. Have you seen Momochi's article complaining that older fighters are taking over the scene, and that he's a little worried about it, right? Brief recap real quick. So Momochi, being 35, was the youngest person in top 8 losers Capcom Cup, or was it Pro Tour? I'm not sure which one. But he's saying that. Let me see. Yeah. So he's saying that, it's a problem that most of the players who are at the top of the game are older, and that he's not seeing a lot of new blood come into the game. And, I knew that was kind of a general thing for legacy games like Tekken. I mean, the longer you're in it, the better you are, generally, right? I mean, just as a person. But what he's saying is really just like, he's just overall just worried about the health of the community in general. And so we're about to get into this discussion whether, and it's a very it's a very opinionated discussion, whether it is that fighting games, like, how do we balance it? Like, how do we bring new people in? Is it that they should just kind of like pull themselves up by their bootstraps a little bit, and really kind of get some of that motivation that we all use to play this game ourselves? You know, like you gotta, like Cap says, you gotta want it, right? You gotta, and if you want it, you're gonna go after the stuff that's necessary. Or on the other end, should the gaming publishers do more to kind of onboard people? So that's kind of the discussion at hand. Cap, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the mic because I know you have a particularly good point on this. So where do you lie on this?
So, dog, we talked about this.
They didn't know that. You know, you probably have to go through the whole thing.
No. Hold on, no. I'm saying we've talked about this before in prior conversations to older stories, like a couple of weeks ago, namely.
Yes.
And so, you know, in a lot of ways, the sentiment, oftentimes is different. Like I said earlier, like that kind of talk from Emoji, I get it, you know. However, fighting games don't necessarily have the. I don't know that younger generations can catch the appeal the way that like the fighting game community caught the appeal of fighting games back then. You gotta remember,
expand on it. Yeah, no. Go dig deeper into that. Dig deeper into that. What do you mean by catching the appeal for all the folks out there in the audience?
The thing the way I think about this immediately while we're talking about it, these are all just immediate thoughts, subject to change and very opinionated.
Your opinions are opinions, and no one will argue you on that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not even tripping about that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never. But fighting games started where? In the arcades.
Yep.
The generations that appreciate them are largely made up of that arcade generation.
Yep.
That arcade generation died not too long after I was born. Somewhere in like the mid 2000s, it started to really, or the early 2000s, it really started to phase out, right?
Yeah.
So the younger generations that were coming up, they didn't have to go to the arcade to play fighting games. And it's not that they did not play fighting games, because we had consoles and people, like, we get that. So there were a lot of people that definitely did grow up playing them, but that sense of community, that sense of competition isn't necessarily the same.
Exactly.
Playing, and I say that to say playing at home, even online, isn't necessarily the same as playing offline or is playing like in an environment where people want to whoop your ass and you have the opportunity to have to learn like on the spot.
Yeah.
You made a mention of people not knowing the term footsies. Footsies literally isn't actually a fighting game term. That's nothing you would ever really find until like recently from like the past, from like past Street Fighter games. So naturally, people wouldn't actually like immediately grasp it, because unless you play the game footsies or you participate in like fighting game tournaments or you watch fighting game content, you don't really know. You would know. No casual fan really would know what that is, right? It's like talking about the neutral. A lot of people don't know what that is because a lot of people, those same people, don't play fighting games or participate in those types of environments in the same way.
Right.
So when it comes to stuff like that, like, you know, the way I think about, I'll come with a bit more of a solution, less so salt, because I feel the salt brewing in my gut.
Oh, look, I told Iceman the same thing today. He saw the article. He's talking about some woosah, calm down. Ain't no calming down. You better bring the ruckus, man. We want to hear what the people think, right? Because that's where the good. Speak from the heart, man. Speak from the heart.
Here's my thing.
Go ahead.
Fighting games they're not the Fortnites of the world. They don't have necessarily the same opportunities as like a game, like a games as a service as Fortnite does. They are, in effect, they can be very difficult. Even for accessible fighting games, quote unquote, like we're talking about now. You have your Grand Blues, you have your Rising Thunders, you have all these, you know, all those kind of games that are supposed to be a little bit easier for people to participate in and play. Those aren't necessarily moving the needle, and you have to wonder why, right? Well, because fighting games aren't the main genre. Fighting games, since probably like the 90s, the 2000s, fighting games have not been the main genre for a very long time. Personally, I think fighting games...
In it to win it. Shout out for the follow, man. It's about time, dog. It took you forever and a day to come. You must have had a day. You must have had a day off today or something, man. Yo, Win.
Is that Win?
Yeah, that's Win. Hey, look, Win. We in here. Look. Look, if you want to jump on Discord, dog, you might want to jump in on this conversation, man. This is about to get heavy. You already know. You're not going to want to sit here and watch this for too much longer. We just brought up Momochi's article about older players dominating the field when it comes to Tekken, right? And how he thinks that's bad for the community. And we're about to jump in this thing right now. Yo, so Cap, go continue with your point. Continue with your point.
In what's up, Win? What's going on, big brothers? That's Grandmaster Win right there, bro.
Whooping us all in Tekken.
Whooping us all in Tekken, showing us the way. Anywho, I don't think that younger generations will necessarily be able to appeal to fighting games unless they have a similar-ish approach. Like, unless you have a family that played fighting games or participate in fighting game tournaments. For instance, for example, there's a gentleman that goes into 404 who occasionally will bring his kids in, then he'll be participating in like any one tournament that's going on there. Those kids, in theory, are more likely to want to engage in fighting game tournaments if that is something that they find appealing to them. Mm-hmm. A lot of kids don't have parents like that. A lot of parents don't experience fighting games like that. And didn't experience fighting games like that. A lot of people, to your point earlier, probably didn't even know where to find their local tournament. That there were local tournaments going on at their arcades back in the day, enough to be like, yo, son, like, is this, or daughter, is this something that you would be particularly interested in doing, like, da-da-da. Now, that's something that can change. I think with the advent of Twitch, I think with proper marketing, you definitely open up the door to give new youth an opportunity to want to engage and participate in these types of events. At the same time, however, like I was saying before, fighting games are not the main genre right now. What is the main genre? You got your battle royales. That's everybody's favorite genre, every 5-year-old's favorite genre under the sun right now, because it appeals in so many different social cultural ways that they're seeing outside of just the game. I think you have your shooters, you have your MOBAs, you have like your horror games, the things that kids are watching on YouTube. Like my own little sister, she was 14 years old, watching kids play X and Y for the first time, or kids play Outlast for the first time, or kids play Fortnite for the first, all that kind of shit on YouTube. Those kinds of, what did she do? She watched a playthrough of Last of Us and Last of Us 2. And what did she end up wanting? A PlayStation so that she could get Last of Us and Last of Us 2. So that tells me right there that if with the proper marketing, with the proper exposure, fighting games can get to a point where they become the main, like one of the main genres. I don't think they'll ever be like above the BRs or the shooters or anything like that. I don't think our especially our Western culture lends itself to that the way like an Eastern culture does. But I think with proper marketing, you can open up a door to do that. Now, in doing so and allowing that to happen, that's where you start to get into other conversations about accessibility and retaining actual people, because you got to think, Tekken just sold 7 million copies, right? Yeah. Just sold 7, hit that milestone. Beautiful, excellent, amazing. Shout out to Bandai Namco. Shout out to Michael Arata and Michael Murray, the producers.
Especially on a game that wasn't supposed to go past season 1. I'm just trying to say.
Season 2.
Or was it season 2?
It was season 2 plan.
It wasn't. Yeah, because Ganryu and Lei weren't supposed to be in this game. They never had no plans.
And it's a beautiful thing that it was able to keep going. Yeah. Now, is this people? You have to wonder. And this, any actual answer would be conjecture because we don't have these numbers. For sure. But my thought is, especially this conversation, how many of those people are young people getting into Tekken? How many of those people are young people who are actually going to be participating in tournaments? The same goes for Street Fighter. Y'all putting out all these costumes and shit that people, are supposed to see.
Brenlo, what's good?
What's going on, Brenlo? What's going on? What up, though? That you want people to be involved in and interested in, but they have no frame of reference to, want to engage with that costume from. It would be different, and it would be interesting to see, like, if you could put, like, fucking Ronald McDonald. No one gets to fuck Ronald McDonald anymore, really.
Right. But you understand something the kids like,
Something kids would like, right? Yes, like you put a character in Street that gives Ryu a costume that a younger kid would be interested in using in the game and want to say, Mom, Dad, can you get me this game because such and such character skin is in it? And then they start to potentially get into Street Fighter. Who knows? Now, even if you do that, will it retain, right? Even if you make the game accessible, will it retain? Does that convert to actual tournament play? to where Momochi doesn't have to be worried anymore and complain about aging pros. The pros always been old.
Yeah, look, Daigo always been old. Daigo been old since been old, dog. I don't know about everybody
Daigo
in the
been
chat.
old since he did the Daigo parry.
Daigo is my age. I'm old. I always say I'm old. That's my whole bag, and then I'm an old man.
I know. This is funny. That's why I say you don't got an excuse, because these dudes are literally still pulling off one.
Look, I have none. I have none. Apparently, you can just get you some Bengay and put on some Aspercream and put on your wrists, move them about, and be ready to whoop ass because the game isn't here. So I got a couple of things that I wrote down that you said that I thought were some really good points here, right? So for everybody just jumping in, we are just now getting underway into a little bit of a discussion here in the dojo, and I kind of like this format. I think I might do this more often. So if you like to hear an old man and his friends talk about some stuff and you want to jump in, please feel free to add your opinions in here. But we had this article that Momochi was saying that there are too many old men in fighting games at the top, at the highest level, and that's a problem because there's not enough new blood coming in. Now, Cap and I are having a discussion about this, and I wanted to bring up some good points here. So, one thing he said is that players don't know, and there's something we both agreed on, players don't know terms like footsies, neutral, overhead, spacing, counter hits, unless they watch tournaments, right? Because you hear those things, you learn through just watching tournaments. I mean, that's how I learned, right? There's a time that I didn't know any of this shit, and I've been playing fighting games for years, right? Yeah. I had no idea, right? So, or you watched a guide, you know, or
you're learning from a friend,
or learning from a friend who already knew, right?
Those are some of the main ways you would do it.
Those are pretty much the main ways.
These are beginner and casual players.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's the problem. That is the problem. I shouldn't buy a fighting game and have to wait 20 years later to somehow run up into crucial information on how to... There's a disconnect when you buy a fighting game. When you buy a fighting game, and I'm telling you this because of experience, remember, when you buy a fighting game and you open it up and you play the fighting game and you could play it for 2 years, right, and not know how to actually play the damn game, that's on the developer side. Now, someone should be here's the thing. Here's where the disconnect is, because when you buy a game, they don't teach you tournament things. They don't teach you the things that will get you success against a human being. Hell, they barely teach you the things that'll get you success against the computer, right? Because there's a lack, and like Brenlo just said, there's a lack of explanation and teaching. Now, the community had to make that up, right? The community is the one who brought this stuff up because, to your point, Duran, this stuff comes from said community, right? It's not like the game had these terms installed, like you pick up Street Fighter 2 and they explain what footsies were, but footsies existed when Street Fighter 2 came out. It was an arcade term. Now here's the thing. It's excusable. Right. It's excusable insofar as when it was early like development, right? It was kind of like you were making up a mini game to play a game. Developers didn't design this thing with footsies in mind, right? They designed a little fighting simulator thing. This wasn't, they learned it just as much as us, right? So there is I think a margin of error for a couple of years, right? And I'm when I say couple of years, this was really decades. From like the early Street Fighters to Street Fighter 3, before it became a big phenomenon, like before the Evo moment, before people who weren't really core to the group where this stuff was born. But then as a developer, years after that, you might want to say, you know what, maybe we should start teaching people how to, because if you're going to invest in the community as far as making events, maybe put it in tutorial what footsies are. So new people who buy your game day one, MK, can kind of know what the fuck we're talking about and don't have to already make such a big jump. Like, I gotta go to the Super Bowl just to learn what a touchdown is? No, that's stupid. It's dumb.
No. Oh, okay, I don't agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to watch football and have to wait till the Super Bowl or have to be a vetted fan to understand that, hey, there's stuff going on in the game. It's you know, like basic rules. It's just what I see. This is just thank you, Brenlo. I was wondering if anybody was going to say whether or not that was too high. Thank you, sir. Let me go ahead and drop that down. Appreciate the audio check, guys. So here's my perspective on it. if I buy Tekken, right, and there's an important thing, and not to say Tekken does this, I'm just using Tekken as an example, and let's say there's an important concept that is spacing, just a general important concept that we all need to understand to be good, to command and control the space, and that's not even mentioned. As far as bringing down the general know-how from exclusivity to common knowledge, that's what I'm talking about when I say that, right? I think that the community does a great job of doing that. We have a lot of great community leaders and content creators who have been doing amazing work for years trying to bring the knowledge up, right? But the problem is you got to be in the community to find them in the first place. Most of the people who are buying these games who are new won't know who these people are until somebody else tells them. And let's say they don't have that friend. I didn't have a win in my life to tell me this stuff, right? I would never be fighting you. It just wouldn't happen. I would not have the opportunity to come across that, right? And I know this to be true because so many people who I know who love fighting games, who are trash at them, they don't even know why they're trash. They have no idea, right? So for me, that needs to be solved. I don't care who has to do it, but that has to be solved, right?
No, you do care. You do care who has to do it.
Not really. I don't care if it's the publishers.
I've written down everything you just said, and I can tell you exactly why you care that has to be, who does it, and that it has to be solved.
It doesn't matter which one of them do it. Somebody needs to do it. It's just not being done.
But apparently it does matter, because if it didn't matter, then you would be okay with a community member teaching you that. Now,
right, but I'm talking about the developers. I don't care which one of the developers.
No. Hold on, dog. No. I'm about to. You got me lit right now.
Go ahead, be lit, because I have 5 other points that you went through, and I still got to go through them.
Oh, you know what? Keep going through your points.
All right, you made another good point for new people, and these are people who are not us. Again, they're not fighting game people, but they love fighting games, right? Because all the people who Momochi are talking about, they already play games like us. They're not the ones needing to be indoctrined. So some people don't even know where to find their locals, which is honestly a great place to learn all of this stuff, right? No one knows where to find their locals, right? So that's something that's on more of the community side, right? Like people like 404 trying to get out there, reach out to more people, let more people know that there is a community to be involved in, right? That's more on our side, because you can't expect the publishers to be supporting locals. So that's one thing that could help, I think, is to spread awareness of locals. And that's something we do really good here. So there's nothing much to say on that one. Fighting games aren't the main genre. They certainly aren't, never have been, I don't think ever will be. They have received a renaissance as of late, but my question to you on that part is, could companies like League of Legends change that? And that's just an open question, because as you said before, they have the awareness on their characters, they have the large reach, they have the household names, they come in and create a fighting game genre. It might be the new genre to a bunch of kids who never even knew that it was even a thing.
Here's my thought on that question.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk, and I've watched Anime Illuminati. Mm-hmm. I've watched a number. I've had this conversation, heard this kind of conversation, seen it in different chats. I've been hearing it a lot, especially with Project L. After it being announced and blah blah blah. This weird notion that quote unquote it will save the fighting game community. Like I said, marketing is a very, very, very important aspect to gaming.
Yep.
I think that appealing to younger kids, again, if you're going to market it properly, like I said before, Street Fighter had costumes that were socially and culturally relevant to what youth are kind of watching today in terms of cartoons or TV shows or old, even nostalgic beats that are hit. If Ryu was wearing in that Power Ranger drip, dog, come on now,
that was gold.
But that's swaggy as shit.
Yeah.
Now imagine if they had a regular Red Ranger costume in Street Fighter. Now, in theory, my theory is that is something that could appeal to a potential customer to get them interested in potentially buying the game. Yes. Imagine if it was the newer Red Ranger from whatever iteration of Power Rangers kids can watch today. There's my theory, no facts, I don't know if this is true, is that in theory that if a kid saw that or that was marketed through the proper channels, that could get that kid to want to be like, yo, mommy, so and so's character is in this game. I want to play this particular game. Now, again, that leads to the retention, which it may be a point that you already did, but
that was my first point.
Back to Project L, the marketing. Riot has a marketing engine out the ass. League of Legends, Wild Rift, Valorant, fucking what's the damn Legends of Runeterra.
Yeah. Everything they touch seems to have some level of success in that genre.
Oh, you won't fucking hear. No, it's not even that it has success. It's just that you won't hear about it. Like, because at the end of the day, it ultimately it depends on what communities that you want to participate in and stay in. Because as popular as Legends of Runeterra is, Legends of Runeterra doesn't top Magic. At least let me double check this shit in terms of like
League of Legends itself doesn't top Magic. Like, how is their side project gonna top Magic? Magic is legacy money, dog. That's not even a question.
But this is what we're talking about. Fighting games have a lot of legacy. There are a lot of legacy fighting games. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, King of Fighters. Fucking a lot of these games have just that legacy test, and they've stood the test of time. Yes. Super Smash Brothers. People argue it's not a fighting game. Come on, y'all. It's a platform.
If you have eyes, it's a fighting game. We're not getting into that discussion.
Right. Like, you know, but,
we're not.
But Riot made that game. They have a community that I'm sure is strong, or that I'm sure, you know, is strong enough or whatever, supported enough that Riot's willing to put whatever amount of money up to support their tournaments or whatever. Sure. But Riot has the funds for that kind of stuff. Yes. A lot of these companies don't have that. A lot of these companies are really just getting into that space in terms of like the fighting game community. Dog, you got to remember, we talk to people, like, due to the nature of our work, we've had the benefit, or at least I've had the benefit of talking to actual like people who work for the publishers and the developers. Their budgets towards even like an esports organization are just really being funded. Yes. How long do you think after esports blew up that, like, you can only imagine how much Sega was like, they or who was it? Yeah, Sega. Yeah. They're like, oh man, we're not gonna worry about Virtua Fighter until esports blows up and the fighting game community is starting to blow up more. Now Virtua Fighter X esports is a thing. Now a potential, what I hope is a Virtua Fighter 6 or some sort of Virtua Fighter circuit is potentially being started up and supported by the company. Yeah. This is all marketing though. Yes. This is like, fortunately, again, like Riot, they have that Teamfight Tactics, an amazing game. We both enjoy that game.
All you gotta do is jump in. All you have to do is jump into the Combo Breakers Discord. We have a general chat. You'll see me and Cap in there. Just jump on in, bro. You ain't even got to be on the stream to jump into this, man. You already know it's podcast style.
So check this out.
Go ahead.
I think even with the amount of marketing Project L gets from Riot, yeah, it could attract like fans of Riot and potentially new fans who like League of Legends games but suck at League of Legends or any of their other suck at any of their other games. Will it retain though? We've not seen a lot of fighting games come out and retain audience.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
A number of different reasons, dog.
One of my main reasons is that people get into it thinking they're buying one thing. They sit down and play it, and they're like, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like what I bought. I don't understand this. And then they have to start watching tournaments and being in the community to even get the first bit of knowledge. Well, not that drastic particularly, but there's no onboarding system. This is the article that I was going to show you on Twitter.
Check this out, though. Check this out.
Yes.
You made this point, and I want you to get back to what you were saying about the points that I made so we can finish that before we dive into this. Because you made this point a little bit earlier about developers not investing in trying to teach their community. I think we've seen within the last 3 years, we've seen that recently be attempted with a legacy fighting game, and it's still not necessarily retained a large player base. And that was with Mortal Kombat 11. Had one of the most intuitive tutorial systems I have seen in a fighting game in a long time. Yes. Hell, actually, if you, even without doing a lot of the research, if you play Street Fighter 5, like really, and you really played it, and you went through like the trials and the tutorials, they have things to teach you about the game in the game. You just got to be willing to, look for it after you buy it. Now, some people just want to pick up a fighting game and beat the shit out of their friends, have fun. I think that tends to be the case. And so when they pick it up and they fight someone that's actually good, then that's when they start to have that cognitive dissonance that you're speaking to of, oh, this isn't what I'm playing. Like, no, man, like, that's whack. Because clearly, if this person's better than you, and they've been playing this, or they've taken more time to learn about this game that you have, That's like me picking up chess and then getting bodied by literally actually fucking great example, Indy's cousin or her brother, her younger brother. I did
Okay,
not
okay.
know
When
this
y'all went on
boy.
the trip, okay, run
When
it,
we
run
went
it.
on a trip to when we went on a trip to Louisiana,
Yeah.
me and him played chess. He whooped my ass. Now I'm not a savant at chess by any stretch of the imagination. Neither is he. But he learned enough chess from some old heads that he knew strats that I didn't. That just personally made me want to play him more. My resolve is different than the player who would lose and say, this isn't the game I'm playing, or start blaming the game for their problems versus asking questions, seeking knowledge, wanting to develop and grow, and actually like try to have fun doing that.
Yeah.
I think that cognitive dissonance when people lose, it's kind of like, and I'm gonna use you as an example because I see it, and this is not a dig at all. Last night when you were playing Asuka, you went from practicing and very clearly enjoying yourself and enjoying the practicing to the moment you lost, your whole shift. There's a whole shift in the energy.
Yes.
But then you picked it back up because you started winning, which is a natural thing. No one wants to take L's. No one wants that. That shit
That's
sucks.
true.
It hurts. I
Definitely
experienced
facts.
that
Yeah.
shit. You see me go dark cat mode.
I've
Like
seen Dark Cap with the
everything.
hoodie,
Hell
whole
yeah,
demeanor
full
change.
bro.
Like,
I don't like losing.
look,
But as soon as I win, I like right the fuck up. And
like
I know
it's
how
the
to
cure
play
all.
Tekken.
So
I know how to
that
play
brings up a
Tekken
very
at
good
least
point.
a little bit.
That brings up a very good point
So,
because games
I
like
don't know that-
League do that very well. We all know that type of player exists in a more complicated game than a fighting game, which is League of Legends. I will argue with anyone down that says League is more complicated to learn and play and succeed at than a fighting game, mostly because you have to depend on other idiots. But that's a whole other different thing. I mean, if it was one-on-one League, like how they run the one-on-one tournaments, whole different thing, right? You're in fighting game world, you got nobody to blame but yourself, right? But when you have other people fucking up on your team, that's the extra. It just brings up that worst part of you that just wants to complain, right? And you bring up a good point about the resolve because you're right. You do need you have to have a certain type of stomach for fighting games, right? You have to have a certain type of stomach for taking those L's and not feeling that. But where it's a little different though, because that's a thing that you're gonna find in every game, and even in League of Legends, there's more salty people in League of Legends than in fighting games combined, and yet they still retain. Right? Why is that? That's what I want to know. I don't have the answer to it, right? But why is that? You have a game that's more punishing than a fighting game when you lose, induces more salt, but people ready right the fuck back up. It's fun to lose in
I
there.
literally think the core of that, and to me, again, you have to remember, as someone who not just participates in fighting game tournaments and has participated in fighting games his whole life, but even outside of that, and the advent of individual team sports such as track and field, such as swimming, things like that, where it's you're on a team, but it's just your time's the only time that gets you to the next level.
For sure.
It's the same to me. It's the same reason people don't want to run track. Either they hate running or they don't feel like they're fast enough because they see other people who are faster than them. Okay. Those people oftentimes either have natural ability and talent, which I've seen people. I have a cousin who, if he decided to actually learn how to play Tekken, he could probably be fucking top 100 player, honestly, because he's always had a natural ability in playing fighting games.
Did he ever ask him why he doesn't pursue it?
Dog. There are a lot of reasons.
Okay, all right. We're not gonna get the answer there. Okay, go. Keep going. Yeah.
But it's just like, to me, it's those aspects similar to track. They definitely don't want to feel that sting of taking that L. They definitely don't want to of taking that L by themselves and feeling that. No one likes to feel that L, dog. Mm-hmm. And I think that in and of itself hurts the most, especially when you feel like you don't know what you're doing and you see somebody performing in a fashion that you wish that you could also perform in. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, if I see you doing combos and all I can do is press 1 and 2 and I can only do jabs and punches, and I don't really know how to actually low kick, I just do it by mistake sometimes, that's going to be disheartening. I know, or at least personally, I've experienced that because I swooped in Tekken. So when I first, when I would actually play somebody and I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing. It sucked to take that L. But you take that L and you do what? You either pick up the sticks and talk to your opponent. Yo, what am I doing wrong? Yo, how did you do that? blah blah blah. You're gonna get varying results in terms of answers.
Of course.
Then
generally good in
then,
Tekken
even
from
if
my
you don't get the
experience.
answers you want, you have to seek that knowledge, just like a lot of the older players did. That was the nature of a lot of the early fighting in community, was getting your ass whooped and figuring out how not to get your ass whooped.
But the discussion really isn't about how to keep the same thing as the old guard. It is how do we bring in new blood?
But check this out. New blood, I think, have to be willing to do that. Have to be willing to pursue that knowledge.
But
because
you see that's not a viable solution because of what's happening right now.
I don't think that's not a viable solution.
If you look around, if that was not an issue, I'm just saying, if it wasn't an issue, we wouldn't be having this discussion. There would be no need to wonder.
I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that those two things are mutually exclusive. I really genuinely do not think that's the case, because there's too much access to information for you, especially as quickly as people can argue. I think it's a matter of environment. There's a difference in playing an offline environment versus meeting new people online or via Discord. Also agree. I agree with that, Brunello. But to the same point, to that point, no matter what environment you're in, if you're getting your ass whooped online when no one is saying anything and you're just the one, not you specifically clearly, but the general use, anyone, you have your person who's going to pop off and get upset and just throw their controller, turn off the console, not want to do anything else, maybe even return the damn game. Or you have the person who's going to lose. They might go online. They might go into training mode. They might actually look at their damn command list or try to see what their character's moves do to try to figure out how to be more proficient at the game.
So what we're left with in that environment really is that fighting games just aren't fun, because if there were enough people to pick up a fighting game and just power through it, be like, hey, either you're going to turn it back or just play through it, and we still have a disparagement in new people, that means that there aren't enough people sticking through it, because I guess it's not fun. I guess it's not worth the trouble, which we know is not to be the case. We know, because we play the games and we know the fun in it. So that brings me to the
Check this out. We don't know that that's not the case, because to determine whether something is fun is when I just sent you an invite on your Facebook. I just DM'd
when
you
should be on the Discord already. It's the same Discord. It's the same Combo Breakers Discord we've always had. We've always used it. I believe you've been on there. Just jump into the Discord channel, and we're just in the room. But let me know if you've never been on there, though.
To say something is not fun is...
I'm just making the assumption, because here's the thing.
That's a subjective point.
Your point before was also subjective. We're both putting out subjective points, because just like you said, there's only two people. That's a subjective point, right? I could tell you that way because I was never that person who would just pick up a game and tough through it, right? I had to. Remy, chill. It took me years, and Wynn's been playing me since high school, right? We've been playing against our group of friends long before there was a scene to jump into. No one was going to it for tournaments. We were those people who just played with our friends. But at the same time, for me, what pushed me to get good actually came from finding the knowledge that I didn't know. And again, that wasn't presented to me upon day one. You were one of those
people that did what, though? Did you seek that, or was it given to you?
No, I kind of ran into it by accident, to be honest. It was one of those things. It's like, oh, is this how we're supposed to be playing this game? Why didn't anyone tell me?
But how did you find that information out is what I'm wondering.
Well, for me at the time was, I think a friend had mentioned footsies, and I didn't understand it, right? And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He didn't know what he was talking about, to be fair. He just heard it from someone else, thinking he was good at fighting games, right? And then so I went around thinking footsies was the art of kicking people before, like literal footsies, right?
When we're in the general voice channel. If you're wondering, I see you just hopped in there. And then hold on real quick.
Yeah, let's get him set up.
Brunello said, I also don't think there's as much you can do while you're losing. You're getting comboed or mixed, not much you can do, not taking into account thinking of what you can do better during that moment in time, while you're being hit. Whereas I think in other games, when you lose, there's more that you can do, or even just play the game while you're losing. That makes sense. And no, it does.
That does make sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
That kind of point makes a lot of sense. At the same time, I'm not talking about while you're in the game. I'm saying after you've taken that out. after you've taken that L, you have a number of different decisions you can make. Is where I'm is
the
point that I made.
The thing with what Brenlo is saying is that, so for example, when you lose in League, you have that whole giant cooldown time. The loss is more slowed down. You have more time to observe what happened. If I just bodied you on an unseeable 50-50 mix-up, you don't know what the hell happened. Now, I could give you 10 more years to figure this shit out. Unless you were educated and knew where to go and kind of what to do, like you had a bead, you're not going to know. You're just going to be left with the frustration. And so that's a really interesting point because it's been brought up before that disconnect that you were talking about earlier, that cognitive disconnect in fighting games is by design. Because unlike games like God of War and other games that use fighting mechanics where you're pressing buttons to punch an enemy, they're designed to get punched and not punch you back too hard, you know? Unlike if you're playing me, one of us is going to get our buttons correct, right? And it's a matter of who's going to get it. Now, against equally matched opponents like you and myself, it's a fair game of chess where we don't even think about the L's, right? Because we understand that if I didn't get the button, I know why, so I move forward. When you're getting bodied, you know, it's a little different, especially in remember, fighting games like speed chess, right? You get bodied, several dozens of decisions have flown by you. Now, you have to kind of come prepared with knowledge beforehand. Unlike League, for example, if I lose in League, I can generally know what the hell just happened, and I have a whole cooldown timer and time to talk with my team to reassess or readjust before the match per se is over, right? Before you officially take that L.
If your team is willing to even talk to you about that, but
that's the other part. That's why I say League is much harder than fighting games and much more infuriating, and so therefore, by your standards, much more people should have dropped the game because of that aspect. But there's something that is keeping them reeing up. Most people lose in League way more than they win, just like a Battle Royale. Most people lose in that shit way more than they win. I think in fighting games, most of us, at least at this level, are pretty even in our wins and losses at the very least, right? We may win more than we lose, but we are definitely talking about two different beasts, you know what I'm saying? Like two different...
I want to know what Win thinks.
Is he in here? Win, where you at?
Alright, I am in here.
There you go. Oh wait, let's see. Everybody on chat, let me know if you can hear Win and Cap. They're both in the Discord. Win, give me some audio here, man. Alright, Brenlo says yep. Brenlo says yep. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you guys were both be able to be heard on the stream. So Win, you're new jumping in here. You've heard us talk about this for a little bit. We spit some things back and forth. So you said you wanted to jump in. Let's hear your thoughts.
All right. So before then, I'm just gonna say I might go in and out, just being on mute. Just
okay. Let me drop the audio down completely and turn you guys' audio up. Now, Cap, you might be you're coming in a lot louder than Win is, but
I'll try to be a bit quieter. Go ahead, Win.
Okay. But that's all I'm gonna say. Like for probably like 10 minutes, you might hear me just mute. And I'm not responding. I'm just gonna let you guys know. I'm listening, but I'm just gonna let you guys know.
Yeah.
All right. But I think we were talking about the last thing I heard. I mean, before I jumped in, was talking about like why people are staying or why people aren't staying in fighters.
Potential reasons. Two things I want you to share your thoughts on. One, what are your solutions for bringing in new blood into fighting game communities? Not just the FGC in general, just various fighting game communities. Momochi, we started off with the article. Momochi was talking about there are too many old guys in the Tekken, Street Fighter top 8s, and the scene is being dominated by folks that are old, and there's not enough new folks coming into the scene per se, right? So that's what his initial thing was, and that's what kind of started the first kind of bringing new people into a scene, right? And then retaining, that's the second half, retaining those people within those communities. So that's kind of like the general talking point that we're on, just to keep everything, from getting too niche down.
All right, so the first thing, I guess the easiest thing,
Panther,
really,
what's good,
is most of the people who are in the scene that are old, this was probably like the first game that really captivated themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember myself, believe it or not, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, I could still remember it. That was like the first arcade cabinet I've ever seen, and this is while I was in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For some apparent reason, I have that vivid thing. Like I thought it was a dream, but it's a real thing. And that, for I guess us fighters, that means a lot to us because it's like the game captivated us in so many ways. And I think the problem where people are unable to continue playing is they haven't had that same feeling that we had because developers are still trying to please us, but not the new players.
And so, wait, before you go further, two things I want to expand upon. Question from me: what was that thing that captivated you? If you can remember back to like what was the magic, you know what I mean? And then you brought up a good point. I want to expand on how they're trying to please us versus new people. And so expand onto those 2 points.
For me, I think it was, believe it or not, it was just seeing Ryu play against Guile on Ryu's stage and him throwing fireballs and all that stuff. And this is before I knew about Dragon Ball. So that was just a captivating thing.
Oh, just throwing the fireballs and seeing the energy. Okay.
And my first console that I ever received was a Sega Genesis.
Okay.
And the first 2 games was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and then I had Street Fighter 2. I want to say Hyper Edition or something like that. And from that, it's like I just kept on playing the game, so on. And I think to me, what grabbed me was there were like so many, in our eyes, we'll think it's pointless modes, but during that time, it's like that's all we got.
Mm-hmm.
And,
a lot of modes, okay.
The modes, and then you had like a special ending and all stuff, and then it's like certain stuff that captivated you. And then when you for me, it's like. When I went to this grocery store with my parents, basically they had those magazines that you can get probably some more tips or lore. So it was like from that's what got me into fighters.
Okay, then so wait, pause for a second. So it was the magic of the game, right? First of all, the fantasy, the lore, whatever gets you into anime, it's just that magic. You see it, you're like, I like that, right? And then the second thing you said was that you got the game, and then you got the old school magazines that gave you tips on how to play the game. That further fueled your desire because you now have a resource to succeed at this game you like.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Now, one thing jumping into the second question, what I'm thinking that they're going for us is we are the people, we are the guaranteed buyers. And for us, our voice is much louder than new buyers. So if we don't like something and we voice our opinion about it, there's a much better chance that we're going to be heard first than anyone else. And for that, we care about multi, right? And online modes, netcode, and to be honest, those are super important. But I don't think those are important to us, but not the people who want to jump into the game. And the case point that I have
Saint was good.
That
my bad, just saying hey, what's up, everybody, but keep going. Go ahead. Smash though.
So Smash is the most important thing for games. For fighters. And I feel like if developers want to have the same success as Smash, they should follow their point when it comes to believe it or not, modes. I remember in the past, I was like, oh, we don't need we need extra modes and all stuff, or like a great story mode or a story mode. But to be honest, you really do, because I feel like that is what keeps people first And then after they're done, they'll probably, if you have a fun versus mode and all that stuff, you'll still continue playing, and then you will have that urge to automatically go and try to see what else you can get.
I like that. That's a very interesting point.
I like that point.
For Smash, because like Smash doesn't have amazing netcode.
No,
let's just be honest.
It's the worst. It's trash.
But it's the best-selling fighter of all time.
And I'm glad you called it a fighter. Dang, we need more people like you in this world, man. Let's stop with this. I will. Me and Cap already talked about it. We know what kind of fighter it is, not a traditional one.
Hey, Fortnite's a fighter ever since they brought Ryu and Chun.
Hey, Ray!
That's gross. I can't adhere to that.
Look, Cap gonna be like, I was with you. Hey, so chat. We want you to get involved in this conversation, right? Because everyone in the chat right now is a part of the FGC, right? I recognize a lot of names in here.
Wait. So when your point about Smash, I think it's exactly what I was thinking of while you were talking about ways that developers need to appeal to new audiences. Because imagine if the Smash developers, if Nintendo or Sakurai, whatever, all actually put in the characters that the Smash community wanted, that just the Smash community wanted. The amount of variance that you would have in the game. You wouldn't have Steve. You might.
No,
chances are you would.
You would. No one would want that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people. No, the Smash community. Hold on. It's not that no one would want it. It's that the core Smash community, and kind of to Wynn's point, the majority that is the loudest, that often speaks the most about the game, are going to be those hardcore fans of the game. Yeah. To be honest, motherfuckers on Twitter that bitch and moan every time some new character comes out that they don't like, or some change to their character is made that they don't like. You're just hearing that the most, and you're seeing that the most. That doesn't make up the entire 7 million people that play Tekken. That doesn't make up the entire however many people that purchased and play Smash. That's just a small percentage of a larger group of people. To be honest, and the reality of the situation is they don't matter. Their opinions don't matter just as much as ours don't matter. Because dudes' opinions matter. Well, they do matter insofar as like they do want to keep the community happy, blah blah blah. Similar to another point that Wynn made, but I'm saying the developers' opinions are what matter at the end of the day, because they're the ones that are putting the game out. They're the ones that are putting the characters in the game. They're the ones who are looking at the data and saying this is, or they might be looking at social media. They might be,
or marketing.
And if they are,
ask Sakurai. Marketing decision matters the most.
That could be Sakurai. I think that's Harada. Harada, the first person to tell you not to ask him shit on Twitter.
Yeah, but until marketing comes in and be like, you need to make season 2 or 3. I don't care what you plan. We're making money here. We need to keep this rolling. So what more characters you got? Like marketing.
Exactly.
We know marketing. Again, marketing department is who makes the money, who makes the decisions.
Yeah, they are in effect though a part of that development team, right? Like. So at the end of the
that's like marketing being a part of our team. Are they really, or are they just here to make money for the overall company? They're not part of the development team.
Without making money for the company, you have the company is the developer. Bandai Namco's marketing team.
The marketing team don't have to the marketing team don't have to be made up of the same passionate people who created the game and give a fuck. The marketing people who just want to make more money.
It doesn't, but that doesn't mean that every developer that makes Tekken wants to put the character that the community wants in the game.
No,
those two things again aren't necessarily mutually exclusive.
That's true, but at the end of the day, we do know that the developers, because Sakurai said this himself. Sakurai says, I don't have control over who gets into this game. Don't get mad at me. Who makes those decisions? Nintendo proper. Who makes those decisions for them? Whoever is giving them the money. Minecraft Steve is the perfect example of that.
And that's all fine and dandy. I guess at the end of the day, the point is, for the developer as a whole, be them in the marketing department or the actual development department, they could even wear the fucking mocap suit for all I give a shit. They're the ones whose opinion matter the most. They're the ones who are putting the characters in the game. They're the reason that these things are happening. And sort of to Wynn's point, if Nintendo as a developer listened to what the core Smash community wanted, Smash, in theory, we don't know if this is true or not, may not be the game that we know it as Ultimate today. It may have had different characters in it. Because who's to say Sakurai wants to put Crash Bandicoot in Smash? That's the one motherfucker that anyone on Twitter, where's Crash at? I want Crash. Shut the fuck up.
I don't even think they want Smash. They don't want Crash. Half of them ain't
That's
even
true.
play the game.
I've been hearing this, bro. I was TO for Smash 4.
I know, but
It's
I feel
back
like
home.
it's bandwagon shit. Because when Crash come out, we're not gonna see everybody
I don't
playing
know.
Crash. We're gonna see a couple of hardcore people playing Crash, and everybody gonna be like, it's nice to have. Because remember that shit happened with Banjo. Okay, how many Banjo players do we know? All right,
but check this. Well, again, who we know versus who is and
how
who
many
isn't.
Banjos you see playing this game?
Check this out. Check this out. How many Gonryu players do we know in Atlanta? And then I see an article like yesterday where it says Gonryu is one of the most played characters online.
That's a goddamn lie. How many Gonryus we ran into online? I be wishing for the mirror match. I play on PC and dog. Every time I play a Gonryu, the only message I get is, "Wow, I don't see Gonryus." Like what? Who's coming up with this data? I want to know who wrote that article.
I'm literally about to find an article right now.
I'm about to find them and be like, bro, where y'all getting y'all data from? Because I need to meet these Gonryu players for real. I just want to find them.
I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Not the most played. It says Gonryu is the best online character in Tekken 7, but the community...
yeah, that's facts. That's 100% facts. I agree with that. 100%.
Okay. That's a whole different
undisputable.
End of the day, even if that was the case, it wouldn't matter.
I would be happy. I would need to find out where my fellow sumo guys are.
Check this out. Even if it was the case, at the end of the day, we are only subject to a truly smaller percentage than we think we are.
Absolutely. You're right.
Until netcode got better, how often were you playing in South America and France and shit in Europe?
I still don't play in them areas. That's how small the pool is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I play in those areas every now and again, but
every once in a while, somebody will pop up from England, and I'll be confused, like how?
But ultimately, when I think I hadn't even considered your factor that you made, but I think that captivation is a very, very, very good factor, and the lots of ways to participate outside of playing just like the versus mode. Because when I think about Tekken 3, fucking one of my favorite modes in Tekken 3 was Tekken Force.
Boy, I tell you, they bring back Tekken Force. If I go chat, let me know if y'all played Tekken Force. Y'all want to bring back the true beat 'em up. Make that shit multiplayer, so me and my boy Cap can fight these dudes and give us gear. Make it Outrider style.
You can play 2-player in Tekken Force and Tekken 3.
I'm just saying, in this day and age, you got to remind people to make shit multiplayer, because they be quick to not make a co-op game multiplayer. Say in the chat already know. Look, Duran, I really think we should just Tekken. Look, everybody knows Tekken Force is fire. Everybody knows Subspace Emissary was fire. Why these guys not putting our modes back in, man?
No. Actually, that goes to Wynn's point earlier. Subspace Emissary isn't what Nintendo wanted to have as the new fun mode to play. It was that board game that they made. Now, we don't care for it, but there's a large amount of people that clearly do, because these niggas are selling figurines and fucking adding constant trophies and shit. That might not be in America. Hold on. That might not be in America. That could be in Japan, where that is the audience that they may be catering to. We don't know. We're not the developers.
There's no data on this. What we do know is that I think Wynn did make a very fair point, and one reason why I didn't consider that point myself is because versus modes directly ties into the people who we are. We want to get in there and fight dudes and know that I beat a real dude down or lost trying, right? We've already committed ourselves to that gamble, and we're fine with that. No amount of losing is going to make us stop playing the game, right? I was going to jump back up in here and Asuka again and face more headaches, because I know that in 3 months I'm gonna be returning all of those headaches that I got, and so I'm fully versed. So the magic, number one, right, is part of the equation, and the magic is gathering new people. We can all agree that's what attracts new people. Mortal Kombat is best at that, because you can see their sales pattern. A bunch of new people coming in, not a lot of people staying on, right? They did pretty well in their sales as well, so we know that they're more PvE friendly.
They did very well.
2, single player content. Brenlo just brought that up. Single player content is king with Mortal Kombat, and it goes into those modes. I mean, I've had so much fun. Injustice. We didn't even talk about Injustice 2. How great the gear system was. How great it was for the customization. The lore was good. I mean, the game itself was god awful. I didn't like
yeah,
playing the game.
It was a pretty abysmal person.
Yeah, it's pretty abysmal. So that all goes into keeping the casual audience entertained. You know, if they had more co-op modes like a Tekken Force or a Subspace Emissary, great. And to your point as well, marketing. And Brendo just brought that up again. Boy, look, all in my brain, bro. All in on brain. Look, marketing. We know folks like League of Legends are king with that because that's how they kind of got to where they are right now. Now, they don't have the legacy to compete with the Magic and will never will. We already know that. That's great grandma money. You know what I mean? You're not going to win. I don't care how new and fancy and shiny you are. Great grandma money can stop working today and still beat you 30 years from now in sales.
Man,
so
not grandma money.
You already know.
Grandma money. Grandma money sound way too strong.
The Magic money is too strong, dog. That's it's too strong.
Sound like Queen Elizabeth down.
That's that Queen Elizabeth money, man. Yo, what Nintendo is on that grandma money. That's why they ain't trying hard now. They don't need to. They don't even need to give you another console. They'll still be on top.
Nintendo on Genghis Khan money. They are money from the eons, from years and years and years, hundreds of years ago.
When there was no inflation money, you know what I'm saying?
Right. When you couldn't inflate money because no one knew what the word inflation was. That was European and Greek.
Right. Okay, so
inflation. What? This is gold, nigga. What?
So I think that takes care of a lot up to the middle point, and the community picks up the slack in the middle, and we know they have, in that we have great community leaders who are creating content, right? The lack of content is not really on, like you said, it's a plethora out there. It's hella accessible. Everybody and their mama got a guide. You just got to look up Asuka guide, and you can find out everything you need day one, right? You just got to absorb it all, right? So the information now is more prevalent than before, but we're like you said, the publishers just not getting their boots on the ground to start getting some of that League of Legends. We can invest in our community money, and when they get league
check
money,
this out too.
What's up?
Even at a development level, I would argue that I think there's a world. I don't know if this will happen. I think that there is a world where developers will start to implement, and because I've seen this, we've seen this, MK11, and again, a good example of developers adding in those little bits of terminologies that came from the community. That wasn't happening necessarily 15 years ago in these games, right?
Years ago.
It wasn't happening 7 years ago. But now there's a world where that happens. The idea of the neutral, the idea of footsies, which is a game in and of itself now, right? Like those little terms and stuff. If you play the Mortal Kombat tutorial, you might see a few of those different terms. Fuzzy guarding. You might see a few of the different, like, these terms that were very fighting game community and fighting game culture. Because I think personally, I'm going to lay this out while people are listening. It's just as an opinion. I know I've talked to you about this before. If you're going to talk about FGC, I think you can talk about it in two ways, be it the community or the culture. The community creates the culture. And so part of the culture is where those terms come from. Part of the culture is where those ideas come from that the community surrounds themselves with. And so we talk about this community, but everybody in the community, or that we say is a part of the fighting game community, may just actually be people who appreciate fighting game culture. Same way that culture vultures fucking appreciated hip hop culture back in the day. Yeah. That's neither here nor there.
You were right. No. I mean, you're spot on. And like, I always love when you make the reference to hip hop because it's a great point.
Because they're I think again that for what I'm doing with Good Game TV, I think they're two sides of the same coin, and that's part of the mission of what I'm trying to bring up. That's again not what's important. What's important right now is this conversation. And that being said, like I think developers will again start to add more of those little aspects in because people do call for them. I think it's, to your point, one of those things that if you didn't know, it's because you weren't in that environment necessarily to know. So with everything going online, or a lot of things going online, part of introducing new players to that environment is adding those terms and things that come from the environment. Yes. Developers may not necessarily have known about these terminologies either because how often were people traveling from fucking Japan to come to America to participate in a tournament that might have been going on in fucking Chinatown Fair Arcade back in the early 2000s, late 90s? Probably very rarely. Okay, to
it was
even
very rare.
understand.
Like Daigo was actually one of the first people to cross over the Japan-U.S. barrier to compete.
And that
on
was
an
to
official
California.
basis.
That wasn't even in New York.
That was a long time ago, and it was to Cali, and it wasn't even big televised, right? And I agree with you. I think one thing that could help, it's not the only end-all be-all solution, right, is the developers have a unique position. When they create a new game, they can implement new training tools. These training tools can be psychologically designed to help you understand how to play the game under the game, right? It doesn't take a genius to know the moves list or commands, but it does take a little bit of training. And you showed me a training tool being able to and we've seen developers branch out and try to figure this out, right? Sam Show did a great job of it with the Ghost, right?
Yep.
Punch Planet, the footsies mode difficulty. You can take the computer from regular computer to footsie's computer, changes the entire way you play the game, right?
So
those things are good. I love those things because without having to beat you over the head with terms, it's teaching you, like, naturally how to play the game to succeed against the human opponent, which at the end of the day is where you're going to end up. After you do all the solo content, after you do all of the side shit, you're going to end up fighting someone, whether you're friends or someone else, and you're gonna feel good if you have some sort of understanding about those waters.
And Punch Planet's releasing in what? The last 5 to 6 years.
Yeah,
now check this out.
new.
Punch Planet is also a very independent developer game. Small team, small crew. This isn't Capcom and Bandai Namco.
I just wonder why
this isn't
Capcom
fucking
and Bandai Namco won't, if they don't do it in the next one, because the next one is their opportunity, not now. Namco Bandai took a great big lead by giving us the frame data, right? Those moves like those, so helpful, right? Tekken 8 comes out, or Tekken Tag 3. Come on, man, I'm gonna need you guys to run over through. There needs to be like a tutorial that you can take. Hey, if you only want to learn the game at a basic level, complete this first chapter. You want to learn some more legacy stuff that's been around forever? Complete these later chapters, right? Optional, not forced down your throat, but like you approach it when you're ready, you know?
And I think they've been growing, like I said, I think
they're going in that direction for sure.
Yeah, they've been doing. And that's why implementing it now, especially when games as a service is such a strong marketing tool, and it's a way to keep a game alive. Tekken, again, you just said it. Tekken wasn't supposed to have a season pass season 2. So for games as a service, though, when they notice the industry going in that direction, as a company, you're like, well, shit, if we can make money on the same game, why wouldn't we? We can then move that money either to your billionaires' pockets, which, goes there sometimes, but you could also move that money to the development of the next game or further development into the current game. And so, when you see things like you had mentioned, the frame data, the punishment training being implemented in Tekken for a small fee, a nominal fee, you damn right that better be in the next game, just off rip. Because especially now, we're at a point where that's worth a $60 game, right? Like having that involved in the game makes it way more worth that $60. Fucking Guilty Gear Xrd tutorial mode off rip, bro, just base game. Top tier. I learned how to play fucking Guilty Gear Xrd 2 off the fucking tutorial because the shit taught me Roman canceling. Very basic shit that you should want to know that will be helpful to you in the game, like down the road. Other games need to, and developers I think should, and I think they will be following suit over time, but only time will tell if that's the case, dog.
I hope.
But to retain, but again, even for all the points that we've made so far, retaining the player base. Okay, I don't necessarily know that those all equate to that. I think Wynn's point is one of the strongest actually in terms of captivation and appeal with having different modes and different ways to participate and play the game outside of multiplayer.
Sure. We've seen it
because
work.
We've seen it time and time. MK, dog. I played MK Chess in Mortal Kombat Deception and MK Kart Racing in Mortal Kombat Unchained in both those games for fucking months as a kid. Okay, months. And I played Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance when they first introduced Conquest Mode, and all you were literally doing was running from stage to stage to learn more about the damn game for hours, an entire day as a kid. And it's just, I loved Mortal Kombat. It's one of my favorite franchises, just story-wise, lore, like in character-wise. I think it's just an amazing franchise. It stood the test of time. I know my mom hated it too, so there might be a bit of that there.
Yeah. There was controversy. You know, controversy.
Right, there was some controversy, right? But again, not just MK, Tekken 3. Games that had survival mode, fucking team battles, fucking multiple ways for you to participate with your family and friends. If you had 2 or 4 controllers, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 had it to where me and my roommates, when we were in college, they never played Tekken before. But when I brought Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on my Xbox 360, unfortunately, is the console I had it on because we was an Xbox family by that time. Now we're a PlayStation family. Sorry. We played that so much in college. They played it so much as not even fighting game players, like by trade, the way I was, because in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, one person could control one character, another person could control another character, and if you had 4 controllers, you could fucking 2v2 like that.
Kareem,
and that shit was fun.
Tag mode was dope in DOA. Yeah, I forgot
there was
a tag mode in DOA. Dang, you know what? That was good, wholesome, fun times. Again, I'm right there with you, man. I like I said, it's only been recently in my life that I've played fighting games of any kind of knowledge of what the actual heck I'm playing. Before it was just punch a dude in the face and laugh at the effects, you know? Like
remember time attack in fighting games?
Oh my
God. You literally had to get to the last stage by a certain speed run. Fighting games were speed runners. You could speed run a fucking fighting game, dog.
Wow. So these are very good things. So one thing that you did, Rob, I'm gonna go back to my list here because, and this reminds me of a conversation that we had with your brother. You said about exposure to kids to fighting games. You brought up a good reference to the dude who brings his kids up to 404. Actually, I only see one other child playing Tekken. I keep forgetting his name. He moved out just recently. He's not even in Georgia anymore. So I have a funny story. So Jordan, my girlfriend, her friend, she was babysitting her daughter, and this kid came over to the house and was schooling Jordan on who Ryu was. Right? And Jordan was looking at me like, Mario, did you know this kid knows? And in my head, I was just like, nah, that dude's pretty popular. He transcends fighting games. I'm not even surprised. And then she went on to tell me how other fighting games were influential to her. And I had to sit here and be like, yo, how much exposure do these children have to actual fighting games? Where this little girl is sitting here telling all of us how she doesn't play fighters. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you must have heard this from like Fortnite or something, right? Like, couldn't have been playing Street Fighter 5, kid. You know?
Right.
Because it turns out she knew a lot of the Smash Bros. Characters. She was just into it. She caught that magic that Win was talking about. So I think another piece of the sauce here is essentially getting them while they're young. Right? Because like your brother said, you get them while they're young, this becomes their new reality. They don't have these problems that we have, right? Whatever that is. But that, like,
or they develop new problems that we didn't have. They're
going to develop
new
problems. But to your point, we don't have to dumb it down for them, I don't think. You know what I mean?
I don't think you do, because
it's just exposure. You just have to show them what it is, because once they learn it, they don't have problems with it. They don't have our old problems.
Exactly, and it's not even so much the fact of getting to the point where they're learning it, Mario. You said it this way, and I like that, because to an effect, that's how you're gonna learn about something, is through seeing it. So I get what you mean. At the end of the day, though, if they're exposed to it and they grab on and they gravitate to the colors and they gravitate to you can't, dog. How are fighting games not fucking like extremely exposing, and the animations in these games are 10 times, 100 times what the fuck they were from fucking 92.
Bro,
dog,
we gotta use our imagination.
Imagine Street Fighter 1, the original Street Fighter, where it was just Ryu and Ken. If Ryu had a fucking fiery Shoryuken, that probably would have captivated so many people. But he didn't.
That's the reason why I went to Ken, because he lit people on fire. Ryu didn't do that. I didn't understand.
Hell yeah, Street Fighter 2, you saw that shit, you was like, word?
Like,
this nigga's lightning?
It looked like it do more damage. Exactly. I don't know if it really do more damage. It looked like it do more damage.
Mortal Kombat only got the attention it did because of the fatalities. They made a whole damn system off that shit. Captivating shit that shook the mind. Shit that appealed to in a different way than anything else that was on the market at that time. There are a lot of things on the market now where just animations may not necessarily be enough, or depends on the certain type of animation. But it also, again, to your point, depends to what you're saying and how I associate that to the person who's participating in that as well. Because you could put Kid A and Kid B here. Kid A might both kids may love the animations. Kid A might be the one who gravitates to the game and want to play it more, while Kid B just likes it and thinks it looks cool, and then goes and plays fucking Fortnite and Call of Duty and calling people nigga on the goddamn online.
Look, Saint One, you see my Red Lantern Gondry. I was wondering how long it was gonna take you to notice that he's been sitting here ready to slap the taste out of some Green Lanterns. You already know. And I'm about to buy the red Pac-Man to give it to him so he can float around with a familiar. You already know. You know what I'm saying? I told Stream yesterday I made these Red Lanterns just for you. You know, I got a Red Lantern Asuka as well. Don't try me. But Cap, I got something to ask y'all. I know a lot of y'all in here probably around the same age as me, or a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older for some of y'all. How many of y'all grew up having to go to martial arts classes? Show some ones in the chat. You know what I mean?
Bruh.
Didn't you grew up on that, right? Good game
We
TV.
had, so
I did.
My school, when I was a kid, my church had a school in Detroit,
Yep.
and we literally they had it organized to, as part of our curriculum, we had to take karate class.
Yep.
We had a karate teacher come to our church and teach in the sanctuary legit karate, and niggas was sparring and all types of shit.
Look how many ones. Here's something I just realized, because when you said one kid could like it and go back to Fortnite, it's all about like what grabs you. I just realized when we were younger, martial arts in general in the world were huge. Whether it be kung fu movies, shit like Karate Kid, Three Ninjas Strike Back, Three Ninjas, you know, all of our early like anime were martial arts based. You know what I'm saying? Fist of the North Star, Dragon Ball Z, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knew some sort of fighting, right? So you have this power fantasy of whooping somebody's behind in a similar fashion.
The 1 verse 20, the 1 verse 100, those different nuances, the nature of the old master, the mystical weapon, the mystical style, all that kind of shit.
Stuff was instilled in us. So we see someone like Ryu putting the hands on someone.
Ninjas,
we want them. Surf ninjas. Look, we had Ninja Turtles growing up. We had Samurai Pizza Cats. We had them cows from Mesa.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all know about the cows from Mesa. You know what I'm saying? You had the Battletoads, Street Sharks. Everybody was fighting out here in these streets. Beat 'em up games were big. Fighting games were also in a heyday. So I think a lot of the children who were growing up had a power fantasy of fighting someone else, right? And now in this world of guns and mass shootings and everybody's got a gun, shooting is the thing. That's why I just see the trend of what's hot in the news, what's hot in the talk. It's not people fighting anymore. It's people shooting. And
I even think that that's gonna start to change, especially as shootings become more prevalent. One, I think people will get desensitized. Yes. I think too, though, that there will be such a call, and there will be so many different examples, especially as there are now to the youth, seeing that other countries don't necessarily have these types of issues for specific reasons, be it gun laws or it's just not a part of their culture or whatever. I think that there's a world where, again, you start to revert back. Nothing, like me and Demani were telling you when he was here. There's nothing new under the sun, dog. So we're gonna go back to a time where niggas is just throwing hands and catching fades. Because for all the shooting that goes on in the world, what sport still is one of the most popular sports on TV and pay-per-view? Boxing, two sports rather. Boxing and the UFC. Yeah. Two of the most popular combat sports in the world, hands down.
Yeah, so 100%. I think another thing that I'm taking away from this discussion is that there's a lot of underexposure, to the things that we find fun or to the wonderfulness that is fighting games. I know a lot of people, we would probably be like, hey, I think we've met a couple of these people who like fighting games but didn't know 404 existed, for example. How many broken promises of working with colleges have we talked to people about, and they've never talked to a single college or let them know that the community existed. So you know, the southern nation of fighting games will continue to grow. Luckily, in here in Atlanta, we have great places like 404. We have great places like Second House. You know what I'm saying? You got the Scrubs, the Dubs, and your Good Game TVs as well. You know, we're gonna put ourselves in there because, you know, it's all about sharing that awareness. You know, I definitely think that, I'm still thinking about Wynn's whole thing. I'm like, holy shit, right? That initial thing that captivated
the points that he wanted to share, because I know we let him share his points, and then we talked about it for like 40 minutes.
He did say he was going to go for mute for a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little Asuka practice while we talk, because, you know what I'm saying, I definitely want to hear some. Wynn, are you still there?
We need you, Wynn.
Okay, well, until... Okay, all right, bet. All right, Cap, so until Wynn comes back, let's jump on into this. So, I think, what else I had to put down? Wynn, did you have more points? Like, I know...
I do, actually.
Go ahead, run it.
All right, so another part, I think, one thing, just to know, did Momochi basically talk about Tekken?
No, he's only talking about from the Street Fighter angle. You know, that's kind of like
right.
where he went down, you know.
So, to be fair, Street Fighter is doing much better than ever. But I think what happened is, and you know, I think Street Fighter 6, whenever that comes out, I think they will have a much better, they'll do it much better than what they did with 5. And I think if we go back to the same philosophy of Smash, there are certain things that you don't need to do. For example, you were talking about, you know, bringing terms and stuff like that. You don't have to introduce terms or anything. That's my opinion.
I respect that.
I think you don't want to put so much on a new person that gets them intimidated and then they walk away. One thing I would say that they should do probably is have just something generic that says for beginners, intermediate, masters. That's probably the only thing I would say they should do, right?
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't think they should. At the same, it just matters the game. If the game is very complex to let's say like Blaze Blue, or not Blaze Blue, but like Guilty Gear, I would say you should do that, right?
Very term heavy game because you got to know what a Roman cancel is to even use it.
Exactly, right? In those games, I feel like those are games that only target intermediate to advanced fighters anyway. So for them, trying to make it much easier and all stuff to grab beginners, they're probably going to grab a small pool, but they're not going to grab a lot. It's just that's the type of game, and that's okay because there are fun shooters and then there are competitive shooters.
Yes.
And usually the competitive shooters are people who already played shooters, and they're like, "Hey, I want to play a little more skill based.
I need to be punished. I want a challenge."
Correct. So it's like that's where that type of game is, and that's fine because you know they're still able to make their money, right? So they probably want more money. They probably want some of Street Fighter money.
Yeah.
But you know that's just the way the game is, and that's fine. Now another thing going back to that I guess in reference is what the terms. Hold on, I'm trying to just catch my thought.
Now, when I say when we say terms, right? Now, throwing the words at them, I do understand. Too many meanings, too many things to think about. What about concepts? So when you're teaching a beginner a fighting game, and you're introducing them, what is the first thing that you introduce them to?
The complete basics. How to block, how to throw a punch. I mean, you have to learn that.
Throwing a punch is intuitive and blocking is intuitive, and both of those are covered in the basic tutorials. I'm talking about actually playing the game, because anybody who knows how to play a game, not knows, but just jumps into the game, knows how to press the buttons, because that's the only thing you can do. So the throwing the punch is intuitive, but what do you actually teach them? What do you craft first?
The thing is, well, I'll take it like a Mega Man moment, right? Okay. A Mega Man moment is something that they did in Gene's game. Mega Man didn't have tutorial. But what Mega Man did was when they showed you something new, they showed you what you had to do without any consequences.
That's the Eagle Raptor tip. I peeped you, man.
Hey, Eagle Raptor.
Let's peep that Eagle Raptor.
Vile is who I think about. Vile showed me early on that there was no hope for me, you know, and I need to get used to getting punished.
No, like for Mega Man, right? Let's say you saw.
Yeah, I'm shooting lemons.
Okay. Mega Man X1. Mega Man X1, right? You remember, right? The first stage, you saw that the stage, not the stage, but the highway fell down.
Yes.
Right?
And then you knew that if you jumped on it, the same would happen to you.
Correct. And then when it did, you were like, okay, now you saw that basically, you know that you can get up, but now you had to find out how. And then just you jumping, because you already learned how to jump by the game just teaching you just through experience, you learned that, oh, I could wall jump. Who knew? Right? So the thing is with the game, right? And just like regular shooters, I think the best game that had a best single player or multiplayer that basically people could just play that and enjoy the hell out of the game, even though it's a shooter, is Halo.
Okay, look. You already know, Brendo, I got you. But yeah, Halo's great because even I'm trash at shooters, and I'll play Halo.
And so for that, it's like, yeah, definitely, like I said, when you guys were talking about Tekken Force mode and all stuff, right? Believe it or not, some of the enemies you're fighting, they were showing you techniques in the game, and you saw that firsthand. You saw certain combos they were doing, even though you could kill them in like a couple of hits. Mm-hmm. They were showing you these things that were possible with a character put in the game. And over time, when people just learn that to playing it, it just, it gets embedded into your mind, and you're able to just throw it out once you realize, like, oh, I can do this. So there is a method to try to teach someone through just regular single player, and I think that is something that Smash does really well, because one thing I realized is Smash is probably the only community that has like the youngest players in their community.
Yes,
and it's because of two things. There's two things that is actually very crucial that only two other fighters does well. One, they can't have kids, but the other one they can. And that is MK and Street Fighter. The first thing is usually when you get introduced, if you have a great game and all stuff, usually the person will seek out a community for some apparent reason. They will find a way to see if there's anything extra, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely if there's definitely when you have Smash. Now, same thing goes for Street Fighter, and same thing goes for MK, right? Now, the big difference between all of these other fighters, like you have Tekken, you have Guilty Gear and such, is those three communities can rely on themselves. So you have tournaments that are only a Street Fighter tournament, that's only a Smash tournament, that's only an MK tournament. Yeah. And those are the ones that make the community grow. Not your CEO, not your combo breakers.
That's the point that I brought up the other day, yeah.
Right? So that is one thing that, the community, because you don't go to a sports arena hoping you're able to watch basketball, football, and soccer all in one place.
Nope.
You go there just to watch your particular thing.
Exactly. Even though you're a sports fan, they're not all the same.
not all the same. And the same thing goes for like Tekken, Street Fighter, and Smash. So I think that is one of the biggest hurdles that like Tekken has to do.
Here's the one thing I will say about Smash especially, and I've been hearing this sentiment a lot, and me and Mario, I think we went back and forth pretty hard about this one, because I completely understand where you both support that. I also don't fully agree that is what helps retain people. I think the nature of that is a sentiment that's shared as oftentimes I hear as to why the fighting game community doesn't grow and whatever. But even like for me, again, I've been going to Smash tournaments for quite a while. And even though all the games are Smash, you still have Melee there. You still have Project in there. You still would have Smash 4 there. All in the same tournament. And even if you didn't have those, even for your side tournaments, you had your Rivals of Aether. You had a bunch of other one-off games that nobody gave a fuck about. Even Icon tournaments. I'm from Michigan. We have the Big House. That was one of the largest Smash tournaments in the world, let alone the country. And the Big House was originally, yes, a Melee tournament. The Melee community was, however, extremely big before a lot of the other Smash games got involved into the fray. Yep. But even still, they would still hold a lot of side tournaments, and they had a lot of different opportunities for you to play there. It's just the main focus of like those tournaments were would become later the newer Smash games and Melee. So I don't necessarily know that it's the nature of all the games being in one place. I think people share that sentiment, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think personally, and this goes off into a separate subject that we won't delve into, that the nature of that type of environment is replicative of, or reflective of what was and what people were familiar with the start and the beginning of like the FGC. And I think to remove that is, while it's fine and dandy and shit, we see it all the time, it's perfectly fine. We have world tours and circuits and all that shit now, cool. But, the same rate, those aren't necessarily what are pushing sales either. Because you have UFL, and yes, you have a weekend of that. You have a weekend of Summit, but Summit also does a bunch of different types of events that you can associate with. They just happen to cater to the communities on specific weekends, things of that nature. And Combo Breaker's numbers kept going up over the years pre-COVID. And I think, in theory, they would be slated to continue to go up. And people are bringing their friends into that environment and introducing them to not just the community, but different fighting games in that way, to participate in those types of events. And again, to lose, you're not saying that we're talking about losing it or anything, but in order to lose something like that, and sharing that sentiment, I think leads people to that notion that that's something that should be removed. When I genuinely don't think it should. Like, I think, the strength of our culture and our community is in its togetherness. Similar, again, like I was saying, like I always attributed to hip hop, and to start to segregate and separate these things that are part of that culture really starts to break up the culture. So, but that's just my thought on it. I don't necessarily know that it's the fault of the larger tournaments, like I was saying.
No. So what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about taking away, right? Because those are extremely important. I look at those places, CEO, Combo Breaker, Evo, Final Round, they're the celebration of fighting games.
Right.
So you have a celebration of fighting games, that the most popular fighting games that people are playing right now, right? But not everyone are all in the same community, and that's okay, but in that community, you have to have your own thing.
Yeah. I agree.
Because the thing is, one of the most successful ones, truly, is the Street Fighter community. I mean, I want to say the Smash community, but the Smash community, they're successful in their own way. Yes. But they're not truly successful because they're doing it for fun. And that's fine and all. But I can tell you, if Nintendo was involved with the Smash community, boy, it would be making money, and it would be a much different story. But they're not.
Because Nintendo don't know how to get involved in stuff like this.
No,
Well,
see, Nintendo. And before we go off,
Is Splatoon a world sport?
Check this out. I think I don't necessarily agree that even if Nintendo was involved, they would be making money, because the way Nintendo has historically, and I mean time and time again, not just once, run their Smash style events is very separate and different than what you would see
different.
and what the community would call for. But then too, I also know for a fact, because they've said this, the nature of the way Nintendo does their events isn't money driven. They're not allowed to do that in Japan. Even when Nintendo reps would go out to some of the larger tournaments during the Smash 4 era, and even probably now for Ultimate, I just haven't been involved in Ultimate as closely as I was when I was doing Smash 4 shit. They did not win money. They won no yen. They won like prizes.
They can't
and, like,
gamble out there.
Reputation. They have a very heavy like model culture in Japan and in Asia, and that lends itself to those types of events as well.
When you've been out there, what's your take?
So yes, that is true. Grand prize, but this is the thing, right? So they can now, they just choose not to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, Street
Nice man in the chat, you're agreeing with you. Yep, correct. Nintendo's approach has never been high on money interest.
Yes, but you have to, in Japan, you have to get some type of license, like an esports license, right? For Japanese players, right? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's not for international, but it's more so for Japanese, right? And just to know that, hey, I'm doing this for money and all stuff, this, so they know how to tax you appropriately. And with that happened, and I know Street Fighter had, like, I think their grand prize was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like $60,000 US dollars. Mm-hmm. At one good tournament. I forgot what tournament it was. No, it was Tokyo Game Show. And they had a tournament there. So Street Fighter, and I think Momochi won. But the bad thing about it is Momochi was against the esports license, and he wasn't able to get the prize money
off of that. Yep,
yeah, he wasn't able to get. Yeah, where I know, and Nintendo for Smash, grand prize won a special edition Pro controller.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you know, I think the thing is, you're right about Nintendo's approach, but and you know, that's something that I guess the Smash community just have to accept. But
remember that kid dropped the controller?
Oh yeah, he dropped the controller.
He dropped the fucking controller after he won it. It was great, dog.
So then you have, so the thing is, money can be made, and I think you have a lot of communities with the game developers are starting to try to help incorporate or help try to fund in some particular way. Mm-hmm. I think Street Fighter's going the right route, definitely with, let's say you have your CPT season pass thing that basically helps promote the Capcom Pro Tour, plus help donate for the prize pool, just like the same, just like how Dota does theirs. And I think, you know, I think the great thing for it is you have to do multiple things, and the community is understanding this. Like, for example, let's say Street Fighter or Capcom realized that Ono wasn't really the thing anymore, and Ono just needed to get out of the way because he was just a spokesperson of Street Fighter. You know, he did something in Street Fighter 4, but he did nothing in Street Fighter 5. And so it's like talking to Ono does nothing. So, you know, Capcom realized this, and this is when they changed. And it was like, all right, we'll let you talk to the developer of Street Fighter 5. And from there, that's when everything just changed. And now Street Fighter 5 is this amazing title that should have been like this since the start, but you didn't know who to talk to. They don't have a community manager, so it's just like I think they did kind of in the beginning. I think it was oh my god, I can't think of his name. But it was someone. Oh my god, he did it. He was the one that did OTG behind the arm. I can't remember.
God damn it! Now you're making me forget. Spencer, goddamn.
No, Spencer did it. Yeah, but I forgot who did that moment. And it was
lit, bro.
It was him versus Mars on in final round, and I think the first final round with Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Oh shit, who was that?
Oh my god, what is his name? He was fighting his. I can't think of, but he was Alaskan man. Huh?
You talking about LTG and Viscont, that beef?
No, he's talking about it. Final round, the dude who pulled off the OTG bionic arm. It was Marn.
Okay.
It was against Marn, wasn't it?
Marns, yeah.
Fuck, who was that?
I thought you were talking about something else. My fault.
My God.
But
Wayne, I just want you to know you got Lord Iceman.
Look, I'm about to say, let's address the chat real quick. So first off, let's jump back here. Two things. One addressed to both of you. So first, for you, Cap, Brenlo wants to know, do you mind asking Cap what they think about what they think would bring in new players and what would retain them?
Are you in the Discord? So send here. I'm gonna send them an invite to the Discord.
Hey, yeah. Iceman, jump in the Discord. Like Iceman been looking at this article like since earlier. He was already like woo-sawing earlier in the group, and I said, look, man, you have to look. I knew a random Iceman would appear and he would drop this on us. But yeah, send him an invite to the Discord. Iceman, we just got a Discord put up. This is what we're using to chat right now. Nothing super framework built out. It's very bare bones. But, we got comms. And I like to bring people in on the comms. So, yeah, jump on in here, man. I want to hear what your opinion is.
I'm going to send it to you on Twitter, Iceman. I'm going to send you the Discord invite on Twitter.
But, Cap, what do you think would bring in new players, in your opinion? And what do you think would retain them, in your opinion? And that was the question from the chat directed at you.
Dog, I said...
Just wrap it up for us, real quick.
The strongest... I don't have a set answer, right? But I do think one of the stronger things that would help would be more like marketing toward like fighting games. I think this Fortnite move was a very interesting move, especially from a fighting game community, like players like perspective, like myself. I think that's a good start because Fortnite is a marketing engine. If you want to get people interested in your particular product, I think it's a great way to do it. I think Smash was another good example because to Wynn's point earlier, what's up, Iceman? I heard you hopped in here. To Wynn's point earlier, he made Smash has a super huge player base that is also very young, and to implement traditional fighting game characters into that is another interesting way to try and use it as a way to get kids interested in newer properties. I don't know that is a way to retain them though. I think it is a way to get interested. Retaining people, I truly think you have to have a certain kind of resolve about you to really want to keep playing a fighting game.
So there's
because there are a lot of people who buy these games.
Retain them. We're talking about like what?
Hold, check this out. Actually, no. I think the games to a degree do retain people because the nature of them being legacy games is such that there's a player base that is retained that wants to keep buying the game. I think when we talk about retaining the game, that we're thinking about it, and I appreciate Wynn for kind of adding this perspective. And Mario, you added this perspective as well. You're thinking about it from a playing competitive perspective versus just a common casual fan perspective. Mm-hmm. So there's a world where 7 million players coming on, the large amount of 7 million that bought into the game first for Tekken are largely a retained player base that care about the Tekken franchise or are just interested in it even at a casual level. I think retaining competitive players is where people find concern. And to be honest, I think that happens because a lot of people really want to be in on the esports tip, which naturally, why wouldn't you? It's where quote unquote the money is going right now and where it's going. I mean, we work in this space, Mario. We both to a degree know the truth. But but when you're being told that from the outside looking in, and you're seeing how these companies are having billions and billions and millions invested in them and all this stuff, I mean, why wouldn't you think that way? The same companies though don't know what to do with their money, and that's where people like ourselves come in. But again, that leads to a different conversation. But yeah, no, Brunello, I think marketing through other games, I think, like I said, the player bases to some degree are retained, just not in a more competitive way. They're retained in a franchise like consumer purchase, simple consumer purchase kind of way. And people do want more people to play competitively, but the scene grows out so that more money is implemented into the scene, so that people have an opportunity to make a living off of just playing the game, which is something that time and time again over the last 10 years now, or 8 years, getting to that, we've been hearing again, all pro players. I wish there was a way for me to make money off this game and be able to just make a living off me just playing it, which is fine, dude. Like, I get that shit. Like, become an interesting person and make a Twitch. You could very well do that. If you establish a community and know how to build that shit out. But I do want to hear what Iceman has to say.
Yo, so I got a lot to say. What's up, man? Yeah. I know you've been having a lot to say, man.
This whole dream, my G. As a 20+ year competitor, as a multi-business man, some of the things that you said is dope, right? But it's all surface level thinking.
Okay.
One of the things, the reason why I say it's a lot of surface level thinking is because it's a lot of stuff that you all still don't know in regards to how these companies maneuver and things of that nature. We talk about them on our podcast and stuff like that, Mike and Marty, etc. But we never really get to go too full into it because we always stay on the main surface, like trickling backwards, right? When you spoke about like Ono walked away from the Street Fighter brand of Capcom at his own volition. He helped get Street Fighter recognized again as a game because Street Fighter had been dead for like 15 years.
Until Street Fighter 4,
it was Street Fighter as a game, not Street Fighter 4. I'm saying Street Fighter as a game.
Right.
Capcom had gotten to the point where Capcom had made about 3 or 4 consecutively bad games for Street Fighter. If you remember, they did the EX Plus stuff. They did the Street Fighter game that had the Darkstalkers characters in there, which was the worst game they had ever put out or whatnot. Third Strike was considered a failure. This shows you how far back Street Fighter had been basically effed over as a game. Ono deciding to reach into the fighting game scene had more to do with how the games were being played via MAME and stuff like that, and also because for like 10 years strong, we had been keeping these games alive that Capcom had put no heart into. I came from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I was a solid MVC2 player, and they didn't know they had licenses that were dying and stuff like that, and they threw together Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and then they said, here you go, bye. And we kept that game going for 13 years. They didn't give us a training guide. If you remember back in the day, the magazines and stuff like that, the Game Informers and stuff like that, MVC2 didn't have one.
Nope.
They later came out with a little magazine that had these little paragraph posts with the pictures of the characters in them, and that was it. They didn't even have a game genie stuff or nothing. We found the game-breaking glitches in the game. We found all the unblockables. We found all the infinites. We did all of that. You could probably go to the last few links of Game Facts on Reddit, and you'll see me posting up Iron Man information with 50 more cents, with Josh 360, etc. But my point for saying all of that, just to give you a little bit of history, is Capcom didn't know what the fuck to do in order to revitalize themselves, and then they found out there was a fighting game scene over there. have been keeping these games, these garbage games at that, games that they gave up on and had no heart to do anything with, to change them up or whatever, alive. Believe it or not, as small as the fighting game scene has been, if you look at Capcom the past 15 years, everything that they did to get back on the plus side to make money was through Ono and the fighting game scene. Every single thing they did, even the games that they started to put out, that was one of the reasons why they were high on the Street Fighter versus Tekken and trying to bring that game out, because they wanted to do what Cap spoke about earlier, bridging communities, gaining interest that way, etc. But one of the most important things that people don't understand is, in regards to fighting games, is fighting games are not worldly respected and not highly interested in. Okay? Fighting games, in comparison to party games, shooters, etc., is lowest on the totem pole. They're only slightly above RPGs, only to a fault. Only to a fault. It's normally dependent on what you can't find a fighting game as good as you feel that Street Fighter had done, whether it be Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5. On their best day, can't touch Grand Theft Auto.
No,
On their
not.
best
most
day.
definitely not. But that's even to that point, Iceman. I agree. I would go as far as to argue that they aren't even above RPGs at that point. More people would know more about a GTA, a Saints Row, a Fallout, a Elder Scrolls before they would even think about a fighting game.
Very true. And then, so when we go into Ono walking away, wasn't that. Ono walking away was being sick and things of that nature, and a couple of projects that they had in his lap that were not going to come to fruition. They were really banking on the Tekken versus Street Fighter coming out, and Namco backed away from that because its fan base was like, well, look at that Street Fighter shit. We don't want our game to look like that.
Yeah.
And
the big ass
they
feet.
basically kept telling that, you could go on Twitter and look back. They basically kept telling Harada, yeah, we want it, but at the same time, we would rather just have a balanced Tekken as close to Tekken DR as humanly possible. You can throw that piece of shit game away. We, myself, Mike, and others have been telling the world the things that they implemented in Tekken 7 have been nothing but a trial run. It's a prelude to what they wanted to do with Tekken versus Street Fighter.
We had a feeling about
that's
that.
what we've been pushing. We've been cramming that down people's throat for quite some time. So some people are saying, okay, before they bring out a Tekken 8, they want maybe one more season of Tekken 7 and then a party game, aka Tekken versus Street Fighter, or bring back Tekken Tag. And then bring out Tekken 8 and make it as close to Tekken 6 when it wasn't broken as humanly possible. Because we feel that Tekken 6 could have survived if they cared about balancing it. If they balanced the rage, and if they had balanced Bob, that game could have stayed out a little bit longer. And then maybe, just maybe, they could have put more heart into Tekken 7, and Tekken 7 could have been close to DR. But I digress. In regards to is that Momochi? Oh my God! If he was sitting in front of me right now, telling him shut the fuck up. You are 35 years old. You're 35 years old, complaining about the Daigos of the world and stuff like that. But it was them that helped you get your credence in the game.
Yep.
They are the ones that not only that you had to defeat them to get your status and stuff like that, but when you look at it, if it wasn't for them being around at the time for you to get your sponsorship and blah blah blah, you would have still been getting bodied by the Justin Wongs of the world, which Justin Wong is considered an old head. He's technically in the window of Daigo Umehara. That doesn't even make sense. Your complaint is false and bullshit, because with you being 35, that means you're now an old head.
Yep. He said everybody in
So
there
how
is old.
so how is it that you want to separate yourself from that break? Oh, so you can try to get some wins easy, and you can't try to. You also can't try to hide it behind. You also can't try to hide it behind the guise of well, the younger guys aren't really coming up. They're not really excelling. You know why? Because this is the game that y'all wanted. Y'all wanted a button mash, barely defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all wanted to influence newer people to get involved, which they did. They came in by the droves, and then they couldn't win. Because once the actual competitive players started realizing, oh, this shit is broken, oh, this shit is bullshit, and they started elevating their skills according to that, how was some novice player who just got into Street Fighter, maybe the second or third installment of Street Fighter 4, gonna manage versus Momochi, who's been playing since the Third Strike days, but have been garbage until they started putting these bullshit mechanisms in the game like FADC and stuff like that. You gotta look at it from the reality of it. You can also
spirit, dog. You're speaking of my spirit.
people look at the name and they'll say, "Oh, well, see that top player is right," but go look at that top player's history and see what he's really saying. What he really is saying right now is, man, even the few people that did get in that were new players were technically older players. Like Knuckle Dude has been playing Street Fighter for a long time, from a young person category. So he has an understanding, just like Wong did. It just so happened that he wasn't on the opposite side of 25.
Yeah.
But he became a winner. He carried a full season of Street Fighter with Guile, with a Cammy, etc. And Momochi couldn't do that with his Blanca and whatever other characters, you know what I'm saying, he was playing with, or whatever the case may be. Then you had Mena RD.
Oh man, that birdie
who comes out that his character gets nerfed, buffed, then buffed in within 2 seasons or whatever, and he completely dominates, but he's on the below side of 25. But I do
respect to the best player in the game, and that's Punk. You just want to go ahead and just say it.
I was about to get to that too. My thing is, bro, I understand that it's not a strong window of younger guys consistently winning in Boo Boo Fighter, but also those older players at the time. PR Balrog said this like right at the heyday of Street Fighter 4 when they went over to Japan. For Eva, he did a minor little interview about it. It's like they don't be trying to help one another. They not really trying to influence and grow the community in its entirety. That's the difference between Tekken, DOA, in early Mortal Kombat. Even though I know people shit on Mortal Kombat, but early Mortal Kombat, they weren't doing that in Crapcom. And yes, I barely even call Street Fighter. I normally call it Boo Boo Fighter for that reason. I left that community because they can't see past the outstretched hand. When they started to see that these companies were putting money into shit, they didn't care what the companies were actually doing. Look at the average person that's out there getting sponsorship now. And you can't even get them to answer 5 questions about their sponsorship because they don't even know what it means. They don't even know anything about most of these companies in regards to what they're doing in association with esports. All they saw was money, and they hopped on the bandwagon. When my tournaments, when I used to run the Atlanta Revivals and stuff like that, we already knew about this wave. We had the first sponsorship with NOS energy drink. There was nobody else out there doing that at that time, and they let us know. They said it's going to be a very strong wave. By the time y'all go back to MLG 2010, you're going to see a bunch of people coming down your throat as ATL Tekken, talking about they want to be attached to you. It was NOS energy drink. Later on, it was Monster. Then it was Hot Pocket, so forth and so on. You can go check my YouTube for the proof of this shit. I'll give you a short story in regards to them watching us. We didn't even know how easy they were watching us. We went to MLG 2010 Baltimore, and they wouldn't let us into the facility until we signed contracts. They gave us 15 of us. They gave us 15 of us contracts, had our real names on the contract. You know why? Because they had been watching our YouTube, and they saw us do a little bullcrap rap video on the YouTube. And somebody was talking bullshit about, you know what I'm saying, ATL having money matches, stuff like that. I think Win knows about this shit. So we popped the trunk. you know what I'm saying, we got the AKs in the trunk and everything like that. They saw that on YouTube. They told us in order to be a part of MLG 2010 in regards to Tekken, even though if you go back and look at this shit, MLG 2010 Tekken was trash without ATL. Go look at the viewership. Go look at the viewership. When ATL Red was up there on the stage, posing, doing the Bruce Lee stances and stuff like that, we put MLG fighting game scene on the fucking map. They didn't give us no money. They gave us a bullshit contract and told us that we couldn't be a part of the series anymore because of the video that we put up on YouTube as if they owned us. I said, we don't represent you. We are players and you're hosting a tournament. Now, if you don't want us to be a part of the tournament, that's fine. But you cannot then turn around and advertise your event centered around us as players.
Mm-hmm.
This is stuff that even people don't like to say this about Triforce, but he's been 1,000% right since 2005. They have been getting in doing this for a while. Red Bull and these other companies, Crapcom, etc. That money that they're giving to, you know what I'm saying? Oh, the CPT, they offered $250,000. They have that type of money taxable that they got to throw away every fucking year. They got to find somewhere to put that money every year. Red Bull the same way. Red Bull doing the Conquest events or whatever, stolen. I'm one of the people that they stole that idea from. You know how? If you go to SRK is still up, but you might not be able to check all of the forums. I was doing the point system here for the Atlanta Revival tournaments way back then. That's how I opened the doors for Impact Clash. And I got the idea originally from Evo when Evo used to have an APAC system. Evo used to have an 8-pack system with the grassroots tournaments where you would earn a certain amount of points in your respective games. They didn't have Street Fighter Alpha Series. They didn't have Third Strike for a long time. They shit on those games until they found out that Final Round had been rocking them, and people like Arturo and them had been coming to those tournaments for years. And Evo was like, man, we got to get those numbers. That's why people are flabbergasted with how long Final Round's been around, longer than Evo, but people go look at Evo moment number 27 or 37 with Third Strike. That was only their second year having Third Strike.
Mm-hmm.
People hype off of the parry and everything like that, but we had that stuff going on at Final Round for years. My point was saying all of that bullshit is that money that they're giving. Oh, well, look at the money that they made in regards to CPT. Bro, that money that's tax that they got to give away. Bro, they done made millions off of people going in there buying them stages, going in there buying them outfits. I know we all don't like LTG, but Low Tier God is 1,000% right. They made that money back in 4 months.
Dog, they made that money. Say it, dog.
Yep.
When they got onto ESPN, when we were on ESPN and they got to the point where they made an outfit and then the outfit got banned because they made more money off of people buying the outfit than because it was banned.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 300,000 purchase influx that weekend alone when they were on ESPN. And the sad part about it was they never even got above 127,000 viewers in regards to their ESPN stream. Now it was on the television channel, but they had a physical ESPN stream. It never got above 150,000.
Man, and I've been saying this shit like for years now. Niggas, like, for real, they don't. No one, like, to you, what you said earlier, Iceman. Larger companies don't really give a fuck about fighting games like that, like, at all.
No, hell,
any area that they can find to make money in this shit, they're gonna do. That's why you gotta peep that shit. And that's some, Iceman, I don't talk to you very much at all. But these are conversations that I have with Mario a lot because I hear about this shit going on out here. It's the same shit. It's the same game. The game ain't changed, dog. That's why I make the analogy of the fighting game community and the hip hop community, because the histories are so close in terms of what happened to B-boys back in the day. And I wasn't even born then. Don't learn this from old heads and OG to what's happening to the fighting game community now. It's not that much different at all.
That's why people got to stop being spiteful and just take the time. Don't worry about the history or whatever or what you heard negative. Go listen to James Fink. Go listen. Go listen to the On Blast show, the OBS show. Go listen to Triforce. Triforce has been saying this shit even when he didn't have Empire Arcade in the United States. He's been saying this shit for a long time. TKN House is not the first business I ever started associated with esports. But I will tell you, when it comes down to it, the umbrella that we are under, if we at some point in time would have worked together sooner, it would have been harder for these entities to get in and have the power that they have, because we have now taught them the way to do this and make money off of us, and we pushed our own selves out.
That's what the fuck did I say, dog?
No, it's exactly what you said. It's 100% what you said.
Ain't even talk to you.
100%.
Ain't even talk to you about this, Iceman. Ain't even talk to you about this shit. Been saying the same shit since I came to Atlanta from MI, bro. It's business, bro. It's all just this how business work, dog. And if you gonna give people the keys to your ride, dog, and you got a nice ride, nigga, they gonna try that shit.
They gonna try that shit. And then when they get tired of it, they ain't gonna give it back. They gonna slam it into a wall.
Hell yeah. Or they gonna let it gather dust in their fucking garage and take the wheels off and sell them bitches. They don't give a fuck. Like they really don't give a shit.
As a businessman, I'm a pure dick. It's just plain and simple, because I look at them, I see them feeding and feasting off of us, and people will say, well, Iceman, why don't y'all just work with any and everybody? And I said, yeah, we have a love for the community, but we have to protect the community also. I don't just kiss ass just because, oh, well, we want to be a part. I want to know what your reasoning is. I want to know what you know about us. I want to know what part do you really want to take in being associated with us, or do you want to just ride the gravy train right now? Because there is one, and you want to attach yourself to the name that when I look at the Red Bull entities and stuff like that, I thought that shit was really cute in regards to the conquest stuff and blah, 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 but I work with them. I worked under Final Round. I had contract deals with Final Round. I got paid to work with Final Round, so I was a legit employee, okay? And then I had partnerships, and then Red Bull would come along and say, oh, well, we want to be a part of that. And I'm the person that's saying, oh, that's great. Well, we have sponsorship deals. And they say, no, I want to be a part of that. And I'm the person that's saying, yeah, I understand. Well, we have sponsorship deals. And before I can get it out my mouth, you got 5 other people on the outside. You know what I'm saying? I really don't want to throw their names out there, but they'll say, oh, okay, cool. And they'll sign on the dotted line. And before you know it, they're not even in control of their own events anymore. Have you ever noticed that it's very specific events that you want to go look for, and you want to be like everybody, you want to check out their stream and stuff like that. You want to think about like Super was just thinking about something that happened at Final Round. Do you know that Final Round doesn't have majority of its own content? And Final Round is supposed to be a legit LLC.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I know for a fact that I have some Final Rounds material. You know why? Because for 2 years in a row, I streamed and recorded every last Tekken match that was at their events. This was way back when Nin and Nee were there, etc. If any of y'all ever heard about having a Final Round DVD, I was the first person to goddamn put them motherfuckers together myself. But when Namco came around, what the fuck happened? When we went to the bigger spot at the end of College Park, and we were in the big convention center, because the big complaint about, oh man, they had us cooped up in the room. It was like 500 people in this one room, blah, blah, blah. What happens? Namco comes and says, oh man, you know what I'm saying? We want to stream. Y'all got these numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But guess what? You can't have your B-roll footage.
Nope.
When we put it up on YouTube and stuff like that, it doesn't say Final Round. Even it says Namco Bandai at Final Round. And then Final Round can't even do what the hell they want to do with their own damn videos. They can't even go make a commercial. The very next 3 years later, because when Mike and I started TKN House, I went to Markman and I asked, hey, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to get the top 23 for Final Round this year, blah, 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 blah. And he said, oh, well, we don't have the B-roll footage for it. I said, huh? Y'all streamed the event. It was Final Round's event, so y'all didn't save the material and give it to Final Round, even if Final Round didn't ask for it. No, we didn't. Then when they dropped the Tekken World Tour again, what videos do I see in their highlights? Blackbeard when he beat Pro Chop. Final Round. With my black ass standing on the right hand side of him right there.
Damn.
So when they be trying to tell y'all, that they love y'all and they love the community, they love the scene, etc., they show you it ain't about. It's all about the money. It's all about what that presence is. I'll give you another example. Look at us right now, and look at the complaint they had on Twitter. We had to have King J explain this to people. People were hyping about the We Play event. Oh man, y'all gotta step it up. Look at the quality of that event and stuff like that. Nobody's doing anything out there like that. That's a lie.
Bro,
we did that.
So serious.
Whole lie. That's
Guys,
a
when I
whole
keep it
fucking
around
lie.
to you. Mario, again, something else I talked to you about when last weekend, 2 weeks ago, we was watching this shit. Fucking, how you gonna say no one else is putting shit out there when even fucking, like, in Iceman, I worked for E-League, and that was my, anyway. They were doing fucking team takedown on the stage like that, my nigga.
I know.
Shit like that was happening.
Bro,
Y'all
we was
doing
all
shit
there.
like
We
that
was
fucking
all
final
there.
round.
We
Every
was all
company,
there.
Evo was doing shit like that before fucking WePlay was doing shit like there's no
Summit
fucking.
was doing stuff like that before.
Summit was doing shit
stuff
like nigga.
that.
Everybody was doing shit like WePlay was fucking like WePlay fucking did. Nigga, know what? None of that shit is
We
new.
copied at what everyone else did before.
None of this shit is fucking new. So the people who are saying that are fucking ignorant. That's where that shit comes from.
Other than a few cute camera angles, you know what I'm saying, and slightly better quality, we already doing that shit with THT season 3 right now.
Yep.
We did all of that ourselves. All of that.
Spooky does that shit in his fucking basement, like straight up.
What hurts a little bit is because we have people like Isich who's been around, who's a major part of the Tekken community, who's worked at Final Round with me for over 20 years, etc. As the people saying it, because we're like, you don't even support your own community, because how the hell do you not know Trace Complete has been doing that? Or how do you not know that even with the mid-level quality with the ICFC joint that they got going on right now, the tag team joint that Equinox and them had done with Cuddlecore and them earlier in the year, or the tag team joint just 4 to 6 weeks ago with Anakin and them, same shit. How are you not even paying attention to Tekken House? You claim you got love for us. We making graphics for people on the whole fucking nine,
Logos,
and you ain't even seeing none of the shit that we doing. But you ready to hop on We Play nuts because We Play offered $50,000, and it wasn't even $50,000 to the first person. It was $50,000 split amongst the top 4 or 6 players or some shit like that. So once again, you got blinded by the dollar sign. You got blinded by the dollar signs and said, oh man, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? They shelled out this awesome amount of money, you know what I'm saying? And they flew these people out here and blah, blah, blah. And then look at the invitations in regards to the people that they flew out there. And then look at how late the Americans got their invitation. You mean the Americans who have been consistently streaming your fucking game throughout the whole pandemic, all of these tournaments and stuff like that, keeping your games alive, who've been doing all of these podcasts, all of these downloads, opening up these characters, exploiting these characters. You ain't got the Japanese consistently doing that shit. You ain't got the Koreans consistently doing that shit. You ain't even got people in the UK outside of goddamn main man Sweden and goddamn King J doing that shit. Americans consistently doing this shit, keeping this shit alive for over a year, and then you wait till a week and a half before the event and say, oh yeah, we want y'all to come through too.
Literally,
they didn't
them
tell y'all
come
to
out
come out
on
there?
that same week before, on like Wednesday or Thursday night. Aris was talking about that shit in his stream. He was saying he got invited. He was like, fuck that shit. I don't want to go to that because I don't want to do this shit anymore. And it's probably for the same reason Iceman talking about, among others.
Yes.
I would rather build here. I would rather create starting here in my city, in my state, than my region, and expand accordingly. My dream before I retire and move away from this shit in its entirety and leave it to my daughter for her to do what she want to do with it was to be able to start an official league by having our tournament organizers actually work together and minimally starting with a series and then making a larger event. Data FGC was actually working on that prior to the pandemic, and it seemed like it was a remarkable idea. That obviously the pandemic nerfed that a bit. In regards to talking to the major tournament organizers like Larry, who I've known for years, Eric Small, who I've known for years. Now, I do know that, you know what I'm saying, there's conflict with Jabali and everything like that, but I've known Ian for years. I've known Raekwon 187 for years. Like I said, I've known ISIS for years. It was only one tournament organizer I was going to have the slight difference with in regards to Jabali, only because it will be hard to try to bring Jabali into that room with other people because of the beef or whatever.
Yep.
Yes. But if I
sorry,
promise you all, if with the full leg of what I have planned, I still have the presentation in my Google Drive, all fucking 7 pages with the graphs and all of that shit. If I could have made that work and still hope to be able to make something like that work, it's not the fact that we wouldn't need them. It will be to the point that we will finally have the structure that we would need in the fighting game scene, that when they came around, that those people, those entities in power, which I would call them the council, will be able to say, okay, if you want to be a part of this, this is what we need from you. And if they don't want to give that, then they don't be a part of that. And that's how it is when you have that type of structure, when you have that power, when you have that stance, you can do that. Somebody like Sharpie has been trying to teach content creators and stuff like that this same thing for years. You think content creators are struggling with this? A lot of tournament organizers are also struggling with this because a lot of them are not even legit. So they're afraid to even say no. They're afraid that if they say no, that it'll hurt their tournament in the future. They'll think that it's not going to ever grow, or a company like a Namco would be like, oh, F them because they didn't let us come in there for free, set up our shit for free, stream, and then walk away with all their content, etc. And what you got to understand is Namco can't afford to alienate the community that's keeping that shit alive in the first place. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
You gotta know your position. You gotta know your place. And if you don't know it, if you don't understand it, then they're gonna keep manipulating you. They're gonna keep abusing you. They're gonna keep taking advantage of you. But most of the things that you talked about earlier, I do agree with. But like I said, a lot of it is surface level thinking, because when people talked about the many old cases of rape that happened and stuff like that at the height of the pandemic, and people were doing the cancel culture and stuff like that, we have had plenty of opportunity to as a fighting game scene, have structure, have rules and stuff like that. Most of these major events that you go to, that Namco has their name on, TWT and stuff, do you know when you go to the website, they don't have those rules either. So when they try to act like they're goody good and they're too above to be associated with the nasty side of the fighting game scene, they ain't aiding us in doing anything bigger and better anyway. They're just throwing some money out there and they're saying, hey, come to us instead of going to final round that weekend or whatever, because we got an event that's going to be a week away or whatever, and doing absolutely nothing for you. Nothing at all. Just slapping you with paper money, with usher bucks. And niggas is eating that shit up.
And straight up giving you a lot of the same shit that you would have gotten at a final round or at a larger local event with TOs that actually give a shit. Like
with less love and caring behind the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Swear,
They
dog.
replace it with the money and the production value, and they get in all the people who don't.
No, Mario, it's not even the production value, bro. Because again, even like to Iceman point, Tekken House, fucking when fucking E3 was Battle at the Bay, nigga. Fucking Spooky running tournaments by himself.
I know about the
Literally,
production value. I do, but here's the thing. We're on the inside, and the people on the outside who don't know any better are going to look at a Wii play and be like, that's production value and everything
and
else
that's
isn't.
So I peeped that. But
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm
saying
talking
that.
about. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, I peeped that. What I'm saying is, these things, like that doesn't even matter. It's literally just the money. Because if the production value mattered that much, then there would be a toss-up. It would be hard to make a choice. But no, because you have dollars to throw at your event, because you're the company that makes that event, it becomes a bit more, again, like I was saying earlier, people want to do this so that they can make a living doing it. Pros talk about that shit all the time, bro. When I was fucking TO and shit for Smash back in Michigan, that's all pro players talk. I just want to make a living doing this, dog. That's what make a living doing this, dog. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get that shit, but what about actually giving a fuck about the community? What about actually trying to do things to help grow the community that aren't gonna come, that are part of the long game, dog? We running marathons. We not running sprints, nigga. I ran track. Sprints are tiring, okay? Marathons are tiring too, but you can develop. You can get better doing it. Your time can get better. So it'll be slow, it will steady. It'll be slow, but it will be steady. And that's the important part, especially with business now. People are all about, like you said earlier to a different conversation we were having, failing fast and failing hard in business. That was this new age thought process. But if you listen to the nigga that co-founded Facebook and is really on his shit, he'll tell you straight up. He was like, give yourself 10 years. That seems like a long time now to a startup. That seems like you're gonna lose your damn startup. And some startups do because they sell out, or they don't actually have the heart to stick around and fucking push that shit out. But if you do, and you have the heart and the resolve, and you stick to it, no matter what, and you are putting actual thought into that shit, dog, it can grow. Businesses are like a plant, nigga. They can grow. You the son to that plant.
We've seen our own company fail at giving up on something that was too early, and then after they gave up on it, they done got an award from it. They should have just.
They done got a fucking nominated for a goddamn levy.
We know all too well. There's too many questions that ask, why wasn't there another second team?
And Mario, mind you, this is the first thing that they did when they. And this is a bit of a separate conversation, guys. It is more internal where we work, but that was the first thing that they did for a year. That was the first thing they actually did for a whole year that wasn't Counter-Strike related. Yep. If they had done more CSGO, or if they had done more team takedowns, if they had participated earnestly and wanted to honestly give a fuck about a Street Fighter Invitational or those qualifiers and shit that they ran and was putting so much money into.
Here's a crazy idea, you know? So Iceman just dropped a bunch of knowledge on us, right? And so Iceman, you were saying that you were working on actually building a league, right? I remember the first time we heard about E-League, and then we saw the first show, people asked, so where's the league? How can I sign up? How can I get involved? Is there a circuit? How does this reach the community? And there was those tendrils weren't there at all, you know? We all showed up. I mean, I showed up to every last event, you know? Hell, I even brought half the cosplayers to all the cosplayers to the Injustice event. You know what I mean? Like, I was really thinking like, yo, we need to support this, but it just kind of seems like that wasn't the case. And I like what I hear when I hear the idea of self-sustainability, right? Something that doesn't need the injection from the publishers and the powers that be. Iceman, in your opinion, do you still believe that dream is still possible?
I do. I mean, if that were not the case, I wouldn't have started TK House, even though esports is only a very small portion of what we do overall. If I didn't think it was possible, I would not have done it. The problem is, though, I wish I would have started maybe 2006, maybe no later than 2008.
Before the 09ers?
Because of the high that we were on, not only as players in the growth of the scene. I don't like to use the word community when it comes to the whole fighting. I like to use scene. What we have here in Atlanta and Georgia is a community. What we built in Tekken or whatnot is a community. The scene is totally different. But yes, I do think that it's feasible. I do think that it's possible. But I also feel that there's not enough people out there who are free thinkers. So what'll happen is they have that sheep mentality of, as you can see, there's like 5 or 6 people of us in here right now, right? And at least 3 of us will agree, you know what I'm saying? I got ideas to make that happen, right? But then when we take our 6 people and then we go to 404, and then there's 15 people in the room, you're gonna have 3 people that are gonna go against that. And for some reason, that 3 in this era, that 3 will debunk what we as 6 are saying, and then that will become the majority.
Yep.
And we'll get snuffed out. And then the rest of the remaining 15 will say, y'all funny, try to bring that bullshit in here, blah, blah, blah. Just because there was 3 detractors. Believe it or not, at the end of the THT Season 3, we're going to do what we call a recap show. And we're going to actually talk about that. We're going to talk about that very thing that you asked. We're going to talk about THT Season 3 and how we feel about it, etc. Because believe it or not, it's going to tie into that big dream right there. Because when we talked about E-League and we were sitting at the house and we were mulling through the details in regards to how the team structure was going to be and blah, 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 the first thing that came to Mike and I's mind at the time, because we were still waiting on our paperwork to come back for TKN House to be cleared as an official business, we were like, so where are they going to go from here? Is this the startup? Are they gonna go to other games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, which they did? But is this the startup or something bigger? And we couldn't get an answer from anybody when we came. Now they had Gwinnett Brawl doing, doing the microphones and stuff like that. I know DAP and them personally, you know what I'm saying? But even they didn't know. And when we talked to the people and they were like, oh, you guys are Tech House and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And we tried to ask, he was like, so where do we go from here? Fucking crickets.
Bruh.
There's so much to speak to that.
Bruh. Iceman, dog. You talking to somebody who literally works for this company, is a member and a lover of of the culture of fighting games deep. We running this Showdown product, dog. I'm thinking, man, we gonna do MK. We about to do a bunch of different games, Magic. We could potentially get into other FGC shit. Mario was there. He's making graphics. Shit, me and him hyping this shit up, talking about it, trying to really sell it. No plan. What happens? Whole show gets fucking postponed and canceled. While everybody else under the sun, PlayStation, all these other fucking companies are up here fucking doing the same exact shit we was doing months later. Amidst all the social shit that was going on last year. They don't give a fuck. It's straight up. It's just as simple as that. They just don't give a shit, and they don't actually believe in it. The same company that totes about all these different companies too, because they all got the same spirit. They told about, oh, we love games and we want to make sure it's a part of our fucking brand, blah, 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 blah. Y'all don't give a shit about games. Because if you actually did give a shit about the communities and supporting the games and simply doing something as easy as what I'm doing now with the Game TV, trying to spotlight local communities, something as simple as that, dog, then you would have kept doing shit like what you was talking about. Asking, you would be able to answer, what's next? This is what we're gonna do next. How can we help you? It's servant. I told Mario, and this is my own personal thing. It's servant leadership. That's a very old style leadership. It's the priest talking to the people, saying, "Yo, this is the message." And I'm not talking about. We're not gonna get into it. This is very different. I'm coming from a very different angle than what you might think I'm coming from. But fucking them saying, yo, I don't need anything from you. It's the message. And then them just getting the donation. Just them just reaping the benefits of the people doing right. It's not a matter of the money. I'm not trying to sell you fucking ornaments and all that other bullshit. I'm not trying to fucking sell you on no marketing shit. I'm trying to literally help you so that I can help me and so that I can continue to be able to fucking help you. It works in a fucking cycle like that, dog. We supposed to be able to help lift each other up. So I peep where you coming from when you talking about
this show that HBO is trying to put together.
Do you don't?
Well, fighting games.
Look, we all look. At some point in time, whenever they come up with a show here in Atlanta, one of us, I guarantee you, is hit up to be a part of it. I cannot tell you how many of these shows I've been asked to design for.
So why not? Well, not design, but actually.
Bro, I mean,
participate.
We normally get emails here and there, as well. I'm not against it. We wanted TKN House to be pretty much an umbrella company. We wanted to do any and everything under the sun, what I'm saying, and bring everybody in. We try to outsource here in the state, but a lot of times we try to put money in other people's pocket, and what I'm saying, they just don't be interested. And then they wait and see the finished product, and then they be like, oh man, how can it be a part of that? You know what I'm saying? And we're like,
Exactly.
it,
So
what's
this
done
thing
is
I
done
was, I
now.
was
You know what I'm
trying
saying?
to,
Like, I mean, we're moving on to the next project. Like right now with THT about to end or whatever, we already moving on to the next 3 projects. We even got people asking right now when is going to be the next, you know what I'm saying, season, and will we be doing the same thing or whatever, but ain't no telling
yeah. So
because we're
this,
trying to
this
move
thing
forward with
that,
other things as we talk to Soup about, you know what I'm saying, like
right.
with the Patreon and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, we want to eventually create some sort of residual income or whatnot, but at the same time we do understand that the community is somewhat broke. So we want to
Yes.
put things out there, you know what I'm saying, that interest the people, and that are gonna allow people to be more hands on, because we didn't want to make this and then be like, oh, it's ours, and then
Yeah,
leave
and
it
then
at
it's
that. We
not
wanted
going
to
anywhere.
make this,
Right.
build it up, have you be a part of the building process, hand it off to you, and then build something else.
Yeah.
But
So this
I
thing
mean,
that I
it kind of
had,
is
like
what
they
it is.
were
We had
actually
that
building.
invitational
Oh,
that we did. I think it was what's this? Okay, so that was 2019, the invitational that we did, which was super dope.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. And that was done over in the Cobb County area or whatever. But I just found out around December that company is no longer up and running either. But they were like a traveling company where basically they took all the equipment, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like those big banners you see in the back, the metal stands and everything like that for the
Yeah.
stage with the screen.
mhm.
They traveled with that.
Oh yeah,
So
make money.
when we
Yeah.
did the
Yeah.
invitational, they just needed to find like a unit, you know what I'm saying, to rent out and put all this stuff in there. They came with their own soundboard, the whole freaking 9. Mike won the event. I think Akumu got second or third or whatnot. This was pretty damn dope. When we had intentions of doing more of that and spreading it with other games, especially with Smash, because Smash is such a large community that, hell, dude, like having yet one more event, you know what I'm saying, on the grand scheme of things, you know what I'm saying, wouldn't do nothing but draw even more attention to it.
Right.
But that does go to that Nintendo point that you all were having, y'all were talking about or whatever. But Nintendo doesn't really want to. I don't understand Nintendo's practices to a fault. They're not in it heavily for the money, because if that was the case, they would be like Microsoft in regards to Xbox. They would be like PlayStation. They also have turned a cold shoulder to fighting game tournaments numerous times. They've tried to get Evo. They've tried to get Smash 86 to Evo at least 3 times now.
Wow.
2 times where they actually sent a cease and desist.
So it's like all
because
these
for
roadblocks that you
years,
guys are running.
one of the creators or whatever kept saying that they didn't want Smash Brothers to be recognized as a fighting game. They wanted to be recognized as a party game.
Yep.
Mad Harada
and-
coming out here talking to Sakurai about that shit. I'm like, y'all niggas tripping. Lying through y'all
I
damn
mean,
teeth.
I
So-
feel like, you know, it's their game. They can
do
want
what
it
they
to
want
be
to.
whatever, you know what I'm saying, it
So
is.
when
But they,
y'all
yeah.
get it, y'all do have to have
I do
licenses
think
for
that
all
the
for a
type of
second.
control that they want to have over the game and its community or whatnot is a bit ill-advised. But at the same time, they don't have more than 2 people in their community of or in their workspace that is a part of the fighting game world to school them, like
Yeah.
like
And
what
that's the
happened with
problem that I
Ono and
have
Street
with
Fighter.
talking to this lady about
Or
that.
like how, well, actually, it's not even that with Mortal Kombat, because Boone's been in that umbrella for years. Because
Yep.
I've seen him face to face throughout the 90s. You know what I'm saying? During Mortal Kombat's heyday. You know what I'm saying? So he's always, you know, ears to the streets in regards to that.
Right.
But yeah, it's almost no other games that are in the fighting genre, I guess. You know what I'm saying, that are spaced out that far as Smash is. But I just know that Nintendo doesn't really want to be a part of that big window. But they would associate themselves with like a MLG and stuff like that because it'll be kid friendly and there'll be so many sponsors that are a part of it financially. You know what I'm saying? That will promote it in that PG atmosphere, and then they will be good to go and in that window. But they couldn't we couldn't guarantee that at a CEO or final round, a combo breaker,
Right.
a Evo or whatever, because I'm gonna say fuck shit damn 7 times on the front row and ain't nobody gonna stop me. I'm grown. I've lived 30 plus years to be able to say whatever it is I want to. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna tell me as a person that helped build this, oh yeah, you can't say that. Then you might as well just go over there and have your own events, you know what I'm saying? And then when ain't many people walking through the door, come crawling back to us and asking us how you do it and what happened, why it didn't work for us or whatever, because that's exactly what happened with a fair amount of them Red Bull events. When Red Bull started trying to have people traveling for Tekken or whatever, and they started having only 19 people showing up or whatnot, I say, yeah, that's what the fuck you get for trying to stab us in the back. We taught you this game. We taught you how to do all of this shit. And then you try to basically push us out. So yeah, grassroots ain't gonna die not that fast. Not that soon. We ain't gonna die out just yet. But we see what you're trying to do. And you chose the wrong community to do that shit with. If you had did that with Boo Boo Fighter first, it might have worked. It might have worked. But with Tekken, we've established too much. Man, you could count on 2 hands tournaments for Tekken that you can remember from the time you started playing Tekken to now. And it's a blessing that at least 5 of them are still here. So you mean to tell me that people are supposed to walk away from the history of NEC, KIT, and Final Round all because you tacked on an extra $2,000 to split and it's still not a top 8 pot? Nah, dude, our community is above 30 years old. We too smart for that shit. Do that with them little 22-year-olds that's playing Boo Boo Fighter, you know what I'm saying, EXing through everything. They'll be dumb enough to try that shit. They'll be cool.
I hear that.
That shit might work with them.
Hate with Street Fighter.
Nah, you can't do it with us. Nah, not with us. But I think that we can still do it. I think there's a way that we can do it. I just think that we just got to come together. We got to find a way to come together and stop stepping on each other's toes and actually care enough to be like, I'm watching them over there. I'm watching them over there, because we support the community in its entirety. You know what I'm saying? So we watching the Trace Complete tournaments. If you think we not, go look at Scrub Dojo and Average Video Game Joe. Yep. At the height of what he was doing, you know what I'm saying? This man, considered a nobody, was having $2,000 online tournaments and giving $4,000 away to fucking charities and shit like that throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, man.
When did you see Equinox doing that shit? Oh, that one tournament that Cuddlecore and them did a few months ago that I spoke about. That was after TKN House, Scrub Dojo, goddamn Broken, etc. had already done that shit. So when people talking about quality of the games and oh, we need to raise the bar in the community, we've already done that shit. You just need to fucking pay attention. Yep.
And then the average video gamer now, you might not believe it,
Boo Boo
35,
Fighter. That's what
35
really
years old.
Boo Boo Fighter. I'm sorry.
The average video gamer now is 35.
I mean, yeah, look, we always
been like that.
It's our
Believe it or not,
form.
it's always been like that.
Yeah. So
Like,
it's
we were like 18.
These people are trying to
average
dip
was in the 30s.
into it, and I don't see where that block is where it just don't happen. Our
In the
station,
30s.
Black News Network, we got a Madden tournament in Florida. These guys got 2 hours on national TV.
What's that?
It's just crazy.
I mean,
but
we've
I got
seen the national TV approach, man. It's they tried it.
It's hard, yeah, because the young kids, they're not watching TV.
Exactly.
You know, they're watching Twitch.
Exactly.
But this project that I was into, but now I just don't have time. It was definitely paying for announcers. People had to actually audition. And then they said, well, if you know these people, they got skills on, mic commentating or on the mic commentating or playing the video games in this community, yeah, just send them on through. But when I was talking to her, the lady at Axios Replay was also talking to her. And then it just got on some other shit.
D-Weave, here's one thing I've noticed, and this is my own personal gripe, and believe me, man, as a brother, I love my people. But over the last few years that I've been working in the space, and since I've seen esports develop, dog, I'm 25 years old. I don't got nearly as much time as everyone in this fucking chat that I'm sitting with right now. But to know the shit and to have had this experience and have heard these stories and all this shit, one thing I can tell you right now, bro, for y'all network, y'all gotta get our people to give a fuck about this particular, actually care about the space, and it's at the technological level first. You can't be calling a Switch an Xbox, okay? You gotta actually know what the fuck console people are playing and why they're playing on it. The communities that support that shit. No, but seriously, dog. Seriously, talk to G League. I've talked to all these different groups that have been black led and black owned, what the fuck ever. That's fine and all good and dandy and shit. But if you're not coming on a tip same as like Iceman and Tekken House and crew with actual heart, actual like knowledge, and you're really trying to you're actually trying to show that you have that, or trying to actually get that knowledge or understand where that spirit's coming from and follow in those footsteps, then you're not coming right. You're coming for the same reason all these companies is throwing their dollars at these fucking competitions right now, and you trying to get in on that fucking money. You're not gonna run a quality event. You're not gonna be actually participating in a space where people give a fuck about you, and that's the main fucking problem that I've been seeing just over the years. In my own experience, working in this space and trying to, it is fucking aggravating. It's everything Iceman just talked about. Literally everything Iceman just talked about. I've been seeing it fucking firsthand. I didn't even see the fucking. Lord knows if I was y'all age now, I would probably had the same sentiment.
And I won't get paid for none of this shit. I was just like, hey, let's put.
It's not even about you getting paid. I'm talking about the companies themselves. Like they have to. I literally keep it at the surface level. You just have to give a fuck. Just enough of a fuck to ask, dog.
Say it again, Cap. Say it one more time.
Seriously. It's as simple as that. You literally just have to give a fuck.
Like,
because when you know who gives a fuck and who has successful esports programs and shit like that, fucking public white colleges do. Why don't any of the HBCUs do that? Oh, because when they fucking come out here talking about they want to be fucking involved in competitive esports and shit, and they come to fucking, I won't say any names, but a lot of us know who I would be talking about. They come to the local community leaders and shit, and they're talking about how they want to be involved in this shit, but they don't actually have a fucking plan. So I'm missing with that bullshit. You have to make me break my goddamn glasses talking about
we done been down this road. Cap, we done been down this road a couple of times, man. And I like listening to what Iceman has to say a lot of the times, because without somebody championing the self-sustainability, the community working within itself, right? Like, we have so much talent here, it's a goddamn shame, right? And I'm not just talking about myself, I'm not just talking about Iceman, I'm not just talking about Mike. We got a lot of passionate and talented people within the community, and we have leaders, we have people who have vision, who have plans, and just like Iceman said, just like, we got to stop stepping on each other's toes and trying to, like, put strangleholds on each other over what? We all just build. We can just build. You know what I mean?
But how? It's like so spread out.
So here's how. This may just be my part, but here's how. This is what I do. You know, so my skill set outside of my love of fighting games is design. It's what I do. It's my job. It's my bread and butter, right? I've been doing this shit for years, and it ain't had nothing to do with games. D-Weave, you met me all those years ago when we started Combo Breakers podcast, right? All that shit was design. I wanted to put something that I thought had what people wanted, which was production value, right? They wanted things to look good and to look larger than themselves, so that's what I put my life into. It did successfully. Then I was just like, yo, how can I help? How can I do, like, once we got the E-League stuff, we started, it was great. It was great for me to see the homies from Gwinnett Brawl running stuff in the back. I thought we had finally made it. I thought people who had their skill sets in the community were finally being plugged into something where they could be and build. I had to take all that back, and I'm like, well, design is my thing. What do I do? Well, I'm going to support my local. In what way? I did the stream for 404. I was like, Greg, why is your stream design not good? He's like, I ain't got no time. I said, fam, I got you. How much do you charge me? Don't worry about it. This is what I do. This is where I play. I'm gonna make sure it looks good. You see what I'm saying? That's just me with design, right? If you're a business person, you know what I'm saying? Like an Iceman, you make your business. That business is an umbrella that forms a house that supports and provides shelter for those who are playing underneath. You know what I'm saying? How many events that we've had? How many like when I saw they made the dang jerseys, I was sitting here like, who in the world had the time to organize this down so deep? The broth was all the way in the bones. You know what I'm saying? you got locals like, I remember when Greg first started, a lot of people doubted his intentions, right? And then I look at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, your boy is, you can't say nothing
I'm going
bad
out
about
there
him.
tomorrow.
You know what I mean? Like,
tomorrow.
he out there with passion and heart. That's how he provided. Like, there's a lot of folks that have a lot of talent, and they're doing a lot of things, especially down here in the South in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, I've traveled to Florida, to Tennessee. Tennessee's pretty dope. Louisiana, you know what I'm saying? The Slam, Southern Louisiana Major. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of places just here in the South outside of Atlanta. So when I hear folks like Iceman talk about, yo, let's take it out locally, then expand regionally, strength-wise, so possible, right? The framework, the pieces are there. You know, it's just a matter of who wants to work with who and how.
Where's that golden gate? Where's the gate at?
The gate is here
like
where we at right now. Ain't no gate further away from us than what we have right now. See, that's the thing that we were talking about earlier. People are looking at these outside other things like, oh, that's where you should be, but it was right here at home all along.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The house is where that golden gate is. You know what I mean? Because where you going to, people are going to be coming to you. You build here, you build strong, people are coming here. The people who are already here are more empowered. You don't need to go elsewhere.
So what is the overall goal right now?
Everybody has, I think everyone's goal, and I don't know, I ain't gonna speak for everybody, but I think everybody's goal overall is to see their community or their scene grow. I personally, that's my thing.
I'm gonna ask you this specifically because I think these two, to kind of hone in on the skill set is parts that you and Iceman have referenced. I think that's a good. What is your? We can each go through our goals with the 3 endeavors that we are performing. As you with Scrubs to Dubs, me with Good Game TV, and Iceman and the crew with Tech House. And I'll ask you, what is your goal?
Cool. I'll go
My
first,
goal
man.
with what I was doing with.
I'm asking Mario, what is your goal with Scrubs to Dubs?
Cool. So first of all, my goal with Scrubs to Dubs was similar in line with what I originally wanted to set out with the podcast, right? For me, I saw a subsect of people who are really like sub-beginners, right? Like people who play the game casually. We'll call them casuals. I don't like to use the term, it's so dirty. But people who love the game and play casually, a lot of times from what I've interacted with them, they feel oftentimes intimidated by what we call normal, right? Just everything that is in the fighting games, they're intimidated by it. And I personally, in my life, have helped a lot of my friends cross over from the I could never play these games to holy God, Mario, this is fun. How could I have missed this the whole time? And I figured the best way to do that was with a stream that was kind of geared towards bringing that edge down with the goal of then kind of helping them transition into being able to get to a 404 or finding a community, you know? So for me, I was like, how is the best way that I can do that with my own skills? Well, I talk a lot. I'm not the best player, but I have good graphics. So let me create something that's attractive and enticing to those audiences to bring those viewers in and kind of indoctrinate them into the things that I find fun about fighting games, right? A different way of doing it, like say, King J does the same thing with his stream. Actually, he was honestly one of the big inspirations for this stream when he came down here and spoke to us on the podcast. He talked to us about how he got into it, and I said, I really fucking like that approach, right? So let me go ahead and take that up. And so that was my goal with Scrubs to Dubs, you know, it's basically that's the kind of stream that I wanted to run. And so far I've been able to kind of pivot that into helping folks deal with the tougher parts of the mental side of fighting games, which is kind of what we started this week when we were kind of keeping it real and keeping it honest about not always really knowing what to do or how to get to a place or dealing with those inner demons, what that really means. I would love to cultivate that type of community here on Scrubs to Dubs. That's even in the name, Scrubs to Dubs, 0 to hero. because that's the full journey that everyone has to go through, and that journey is hard. Sometimes you need help, and I hope that this is kind of like one of those kind of first stops on that journey, right? And that's the mission with the actual Scrubs and Dubs. Now with my skill set, I do it essentially to help the community grow, because ever since I've been here in Atlanta, since I was a little kid going to the Gamers Experience, I've always wanted to see my scene grow. I've always wanted to see video games be more than just that thing you get made fun of for doing. The only way I know how to support that, at least with my locals, is to do it with my designs. So that's what I do. I partner with Greg. I help him with things like, the stream, the shop. I help him with ideation. I make sure that, if he's trying to deal with some people, it ain't with some people who trying to got some daggers in his back. We have those conversations. And then to a larger extent, even with events, like with the 404 Freaknik event, I really sat down with him, and I was just like, he was like, yo, Red Bull's gonna give me a little something. I'm like, it's fine. I'm gonna put that shit back into the pod anyway. Let's just make sure it looks good,
Right.
Yeah. I can do that. I don't know if anybody else can do that. If there are some other designers out here, I'd love to meet them, chat it up. But that was within my power to do that, and that's my part of doing it, and that's my little part.
Yeah.
Who's to say even that is going to make a fucking dent, right? But hey, that's what I did. I feel proud of that. I feel like I contributed. You know what I mean?
And that was my goal, kind of. But then my end result was just to get our community on TV. And now I'm hearing people don't watch TV, so I'm too damn old.
No. Look, you were there earlier.
So
we did it.
I started with CNN. You remember we all went to E-League, and I found a spot on CNN Money to notate like how can a player make $1 billion playing video games.
Yep.
So
I remember that.
I went out there. Yeah, I went out there, did the video, but failed miserably. Was just me, a microphone, a camera, and like no help at all. Got some dope shots. So the shots were dope and everything, but when you're doing stuff like that with news, like the time slot that I had, it was too short. So now it was like 2 other projects. And mind you, I'm not getting paid for any of this stuff. It's just for the community, and it's fun, But when this lady came to me, and it's called from West End Studios, something like that, they're producing this show, trying to show gamers and events every night. But I'm trying to tell her, I'm sitting here teaching her about this is this game, this is that game, this is what goes on with the people in this community, this is what's going on with the people in that community. Everything's online on Twitch. You need to go ask Mike, and I sent her his link. Everybody else, Chalk. So she watched it, and somehow she got in touch with what's the girl from Axios?
Allie.
Yeah, and it got undercut like right then. Like she's getting paid a salary from that group that's gonna throw this pitch out, and she was just coming with all this other information. It's gonna be other games. I wanted to put Second House on TV, those tournaments and everything, all of these personalities, these commentators, us, KPZ, and all that. People need to see that. But it just stopped when you start mentioning money and stuff like that. It just got picked up.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. But
So Cap, we got to bring it back to you though.
So literally, dog, you have to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I am 25 years old. Mm-hmm. I have been playing video games since I was fucking probably 3-4, could hold a controller. I'm sitting in my father's lap playing fucking Doom and fucking Quake 2 and Tekken 3 and all this shit.
It won't plug in.
No, the controller was plugged in. You would let me do that shit because my dad was the kind of dad that would let a 4-year-old sit in his car and half steer the damn car while he had his foot on the gas, like on some real shit. But my point is, I love video games, and fighting games have always been a part of my family, from my extended family to my immediate family on the Turner side, because my last name is Turner. So from the time once I got to a point where I was at an age where I thought I could participate in tournaments or help create my own community, I did that. Fortunately, I was in my earlier 20s. I'm still 25, so still in my 20s, early 20s. But fucking from there, And with my know-how and my little business knowledge that I have from school and all of my experience reading Harvard Business Reviews, MIT shits, 400, Fortune, fucking every book under the sun that the same father would have me read to understand the case studies and the cases that go down in business, understanding and learning about culture and hip hop as a culture, especially when I was in college, I realized I'm like, damn, I don't want this to happen to what I now call my home, because I have so much appreciation for this particular space and culture, in turn that being the fighting game community and that being in that fighting game culture. What did I notice? Even when I was back home in Michigan, the promotion of events is literally that's all we needed. That's if you knew about different events going on, there's a higher chance that somebody would watch your shit or come out to your shit. We had niggas fucking driving from Central Michigan 2 or 3 hours to come to a goddamn $3 local. Nigga missed me with that money shit. That shit don't matter, because if your community is dope, people will gravitate toward that shit. I know that firsthand because I ran the community that fucking did that back home, bro.
And now I'm like,
but check this out. From that, and my interest and enjoyment of technology and gaming, all these things coming together, I had an idea for a business that I called TOU originally. Now the project is called Good Game TV. I'm not a full business yet because I don't make any money. That's what my father's an entrepreneur. I can't say I'm a business because if I can't say I'm a business if I don't make money. So it's straight up like that. So check this out though. Check this out. My whole goal at the end of the day, and I've done this, you can ask Greg, you can ask fucking Sir Retro. My whole goal is to help donate to tournament prize pools, which I do out of my own pocket. I don't get the money from nowhere the fuck else, and to help promote events that are going on around the state. If I can, all I need and all I ever ask for, and it's a very simple request, is a graphic and the information that you want me to say. I might shorten it so that it fits into my Twitter and all my other social media platforms that I push out, but all the graphics that are done, I make, unless Mario made them or another group made them. All the fucking promos and shit that you see under like my channel, all those anime videos, all the Twitch videos, all that shit, I make early as fuck in the morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. to push that shit out. I get certain shit prepared the night before so that I can do this in a timely fashion and still be able to do my actual job from home. And my whole MO though is literally just to help promote events, because I noticed that was something that was needed and is important to getting people interested in what's going on. Now, I'm learning that I have to do that even better, which is good, because that's what I want to fucking do. Because at the end of the day, I don't need to make anything out of this. I just want people to be able to experience the same kind of experience or a similar kind of experience that I had when I got involved in this shit, dog. Because this is where my fucking heart is. When I finished college and fucking left my community behind and came out here to Atlanta, the last message I left was the fighting game community is my home. So I hope when I came here, what did I do? I found as many different communities. I remember coming out here and fucking riding in a goddamn Uber, running up my credit card to fucking go out to Gwinnett Brawl, fucking going out to Controller Ride, going out to Golden Anchor Gaming, going out to fucking, I didn't even know about, hadn't even had a chance to go to a data event yet, but meeting all these different people in order to trying to fucking start fucking Soul Calibur tournaments when that game was coming out at Controllerize, trying to run small brackets with Mike Sickanin if they would.
Oh my god, the early days of Controllerize. Having to bring our own PlayStations in that mug.
Yeah, hell yeah, dog. But seriously, seriously, trying to do just those little things so that people can enjoy a competitive experience. And I don't want anything else from that shit. Just for people to just be able to have fun and to help the homies push out and promote their shit, and to fucking occasionally donate to them when I have the money to do that shit. So that my whole goal is to make sure people know about what the fuck is going on. And so when I reach out to people and I ask them if I can help do that, it never comes from ever any kind of malicious intent or nothing like that, because I'm too young I'm not too young to have that, but at the same time, my heart ain't never there, dog. I ain't never been on that shit, ever. since I was a fucking TO, because this shit, I know what it's like to fucking organize a small event. I know what it's like to fucking be a fucking volunteer judge. I hear the conversations from the larger TOs and all the concerns from the production side when the niggas back in Michigan was fucking shorting my nigga Gucci on fucking Smash shit and actual Smash tournaments, larger Smash tournaments that were coming, like Big House and fucking Frostbite and all these goddamn events. And he was getting shorted and I was paying him fucking extra in his pocket so that he could fucking be able to help sustain his business, because I support that shit. I want to support the thing that I love, and this is the fucking thing that I love. It's the most consistent thing I've ever done in my entire fucking life, was play video games. And if I can help support that in this community, then that is my fucking goal. They straight up. It's as simple as that. It's fucking, you can read that shit in a fucking Dr. Seuss book, my nigga. No rhymes and still get it. So it's easy like that. And so like I was saying, in Iceman, if you feel comfortable and are open to sharing the goal for THT, I would love to hear it.
Well, with us being established in different ways, Tekken House as the business was supposed to be TKN and then Tekken House. We were going to be known as the Knowledge Network because being known as the Knowledge Network was more in line with the music we were putting out, the podcast, things of that nature. Tekken House was to give back to a community that we did create, but ultimately helped me become the man that I became today. It was supposed to be, as I mentioned to you all earlier, umbrella company. It was supposed to be a way for me to bring in all the people I knew or didn't even know that were resourceful in many walks of life. My friend circle, my immediate friend circle, is about 8 of us. We call the impact players. The reason why we call the impact players is because we've made significant impact in life, in real life. I have engineers, I have photographers, I have warehouse owners, etc. You know what I'm saying? Those are my close friends, my brothers. You know what I'm saying? I treat them like family. I wanted to do the same with TKN House and trying to get producers, trying to get musicians in general, singers, rappers, you know what I'm saying, doing music and things of that nature. I've worked behind the scenes as a cameraman before. I wanted to find people who were close to some of these radio stations, some of these television stations and stuff like that, so we could be able to take some of these ideas that we have and expand on them and whatnot. But I also wanted those people to be able to make money through us. You take our name, you go and do graphics for whomever or whatnot. You use our website as a source, you know what I'm saying, of communication or information for advertising and whatnot, you know what I'm saying, and hopefully you can get out there in the field that you can actually profit from, that you can do long term. I remember being a kid and about 3 of us had the dream of, well, we wanted to come together to eventually make video games. One of us, I was the writer, one of us was the artist, he actually drew and stuff like that. Then the other person was actually trying to go into video games. Now, it didn't work out that way, but I felt like if we had actually, you know what I'm saying, someone just slightly above us with the know-how, then we would have gotten there. So with TKN House, I wanted to be an umbrella company. I wanted it to be where every single person that was involved, they put money into it and everything, and we all started it together. I initially pitched it to 12 people in the community, okay? Showed a bunch of people, and they weren't really necessarily interested at the time. They didn't see it. They didn't see its growth and whatnot. Now, me, I had already established myself as a tournament organizer. I had already established myself as a party planner, as a host in the state of Georgia in general. So Mike and I were going to have ways to make money outside of esports. So when we were able to find venues to host events, when we had the very first THT season, you know what I'm saying, culminate at, you know what I'm saying, the hookah lounge in East Point or whatever. So when people talk about quality and blah, 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 ain't nobody ever did no shit like that. Well, moving on. these things were supposed to be covered across the board, but I couldn't get other people to accept it. So my dream now in regards to the esports side is to eventually create a league owned, operated, and organized by the community and its founding fathers. Whether it be the major tournament organizers who exist today or the ones that were coming up prior to the pandemic or what have you. And when I say, I don't mean just starting up some league name and then, oh, we're gonna have some tournaments and stuff like that and that be it. No, I mean literally starting this league up, having the rules in place, having the financials in place, the guaranteed money in order to keep that thing going. I want to have top 8 payouts to start out. I want it to grow within 3 years to a top 16 payout. I also want to educate people more in regards to not only video games, but I also want to educate people more in regards to the people who play. Have you all have noticed that, you know, over the years that you've had a few fake entities, you know what I'm saying, attempt to do this. You know, Crapcom had the little reality show when they had LTG in there on there and stuff like that, and they didn't realize because we allowed them to do it because of money and stuff like that. They didn't realize the negative eye that was shined on it after, you know, it was executed. We actually have plans to do something, you know, similar to that under the TKN umbrella, but obviously the people necessary will be a part of that, because we're going to protect not only those people involved, but we're going to protect the community itself. But there's a lot of future plans that I would like to set forth, but the umbrella is what I'm looking for. The umbrella is the network. I really want TKN to be a network. I want to be able to come to you all instead of me and Mike and be like, hey man, we want to get some graphics done for this and blah blah blah, and be able to tack your name to it and put a watermark under there, and then when people say, man, that looks beautiful, who did that, put you onto that, and you make money from that and you grow from that and blah blah blah. I want it to be an actual network. I want people to be able to tune in to whatever TKN has going on, and I want people to tune into it the same way you all used to back in the day when you used to watch the WB and UPN 69, when those two networks had nothing but black shows on there. And you had Steve Harvey, you had the Wayans brothers and shit like that. I want it to be, I want TKN to be that way. That's the I want TKN to be that way, but I want the entire company to represent more than that. I want the entire company to be able to be the one-stop shop for all things esports and entertainment. The esports thing is really, really a very small portion of it. You know what I'm saying? But this is why I reached out to people like the Panthers of the world and stuff like that. But I also understand that I can't force people like Mac Panther and them to have passion that I have. I can't make them get up and do what Cap does at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I can't get them to do what Combo Breakers used to do, go on the fucking VS Realm, setting up a table and goddamn doing a podcast right in the back left corner of a damn tournament finishing up. You know what I'm saying? Run by Data FG. I can't make people do that. But I do know, just like Cap said earlier, if you build it, it will come. And as much as they may have told D-Weave that they were interested in, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, we want to have that show and stuff like that, and then the money, you know what I'm saying, became a thing. I feel that with what Mike and I talk about and plan and whatnot, I feel that we can build a product, the community that we have, the players that we have, and with us as individuals, that'll be so strong that when we do present it to the world, that those type of entities will eventually be clamoring to be like, hey, we want to get down with you. But by then, you know what I'm saying, hopefully we'll have our own platforms in order to actually showcase to the world what it is that we want to. We have an app that's coming up. We don't know the actual release date or whatever, but it is in creation. But I'm now trying to look into these 4 other people that are trying to aid me in regards to this partnership, that if I can get these 4 other people and make it 6 total, I don't know if that's going to be set in stone yet, so I don't want to say that, but I do want to create another streaming service. I saw what happened with Mixer. I see what's going on with Trovo right now. I'm thinking of another source that we could have that may start off as gaming, but another source that we could create from the ground up that you all could use, gamers, podcasters, all alike, but it will be ours. Somehow, some way, Twitch was able to take over. It has the power that it has, and Twitch is borderline getting as powerful as Facebook did within its first 5 years of existence, and people don't even realize that. But they're on here, you know what I'm saying, and I don't know if people pay attention, but you know, if you watch our streams, you know what I'm saying, we don't have subscriptions like that. I think we have about 3,500 3,600 followers or whatever, and this is not a ploy for anybody listening to hurry up and go to the channel to sub and stuff like that, but we've been up and running for 2 years, and all the things that we have done behind the scenes or whatever, we have done that without even being supported by the community that we directly support. So, and we are still considered successful.
Quite.
We are considered successful to the outside, you know what I'm saying, the other cities and the other groups out there doing their thing or whatever the case may be, but we might not be considered, you know, successful by, you know, the actual gamers. And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, but that's what I want for TKN. I want to build the network. I would want under the TKN umbrella for there to be Scrubs to Dubs, but also Scrub Dojo, as well as KB King. If you all know KB used to be the birdie player here, who's now had a successful podcast going on pretty much a year now. His KB? Podcast is the shit. Yeah. Real name Kelvin Bivin.
Yep.
His podcast is the shit. He's been wanting to get Mike and myself on for quite some time, but we super busy. Me being a father, me working 14 hours a goddamn day, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, trying to do this, you know what I'm saying, is pretty effed up. But aside, not just him, also we have other entities like Coco Kanoko and stuff like that. And that's just the esports side of it. But we do have Brandon, we have Cardell and them doing beats. We got TK Horror, you know what I'm saying, doing beats and everything like that. I got a few photographers like my brother Zero, like Centrice, etc. The only thing I don't have, you know, in my crew now is video editors like me, camera guys in regards to film, you know what I'm saying, like myself, because I'm the only person who could do that editing and stuff like that. It's just me. But I would like that.
Hit me up when you're doing a project, man. I
should be weave. He got you on both ends.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean, because like when you see the TTU commercial, that was just us.
That shit was hilarious. What you mean?
And Iceman too, dog. On some real shit. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, no, that shit was funny as fuck. I'm literally tying myself in with the different producers that used to produce and are now doing sets and shit for fucking cartridge that used to do like auxiliary shits at Controller Eyes, like to help promote their sound. My whole shit is promotion, and because I love what I learned about hip hop, and because I love what I love and participate in the fighting game community. So just like I did for Mario earlier today, if there are names of other producers that you would like to have to help add to this particular experience, add to your network, I can pass you along those names and let them know, like, yo, Iceman is interested in this, and you know, you and helping you out in this way, that way, and the third, you know, so that they can talk to you about
interested in My bad, Cap. Are you interested in doing a Tekken House documentary?
Yeah, we already a year in. The only reason why we haven't talked more about it and whatnot is because we've had so many entities try to steal, you know what I'm saying, the concept and the idea. If you all know about Dojo, the guy
Oh
who
man.
had, you know what I'm saying, and I know you know Soup, but even way back
Uh,
when even when y'all were in partnership with when it was you, him, and Greg, and you were doing the Mortal Kombat, if when he came around, you know what I'm saying, because he didn't think we were a legit business, came over to Tekken House or whatever, and I had to throw the paperwork down or whatever. But I found out when we invited him over and stuff like that, he tried to sucker us. You know what I'm saying? He went behind our back, tried to talk to other people, tried to, you know what I'm saying, sit down with them. Like, you're not gonna be able to do what we're doing and do it
oh yeah.
in it's not gonna work. You know what I'm
It
saying?
ain't.
It's just not gonna work. But yeah, he
Did
tried.
y'all have him sign an NDA like when you brought him over there?
At the time we didn't, and that's why, you know, like I said just now, you know what I'm saying, we stopped talking about it or whatever, because like your mom tell you, you know what I'm saying, never let your left hand know what your right hand doing. But you know what I'm saying, it's already in the works. But also I'll know, you know, due to trademark and copyright, anybody here trying to fuck around and gag the shit, and they'll
Yeah.
be seeing me in court. You know what I'm saying? I made sure I put my shit in order. You know what I'm saying? A way ahead of time. Like I said, I went to 12 people with this. You know what I'm saying? And I put the money up myself and said, nah, this is what I want to do. This is, y'all don't want in on it. Okay, y'all don't see the turnaround fast enough. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna go ahead and push this through.
Yeah,
I
and
went to
that's why you
Mike.
gotta have the love for it and be like, hey, let's make this dope project.
Or just not come in and try to just, you know, vulture off of it, which was
Literally same
exactly what
dog.
happened.
Mario will tell you.
Boy.
What do I even talk, dog? Years, dog. Years since I've known you. So the last 3 years that I've been here, that I have known you, is the same exact conversation that we've been having tonight. Like I like you see this shit, and it's hard not to fucking to be. It's hard for me not to be upset with a lot of the topics that we're talking about, because how can you not be, dog? When you care about something so much.
Yep.
That's like somebody kicking one of my siblings, nigga. You about to get knocked the fuck out. It's like straight up. Like especially if you ain't part of the fam. You better be a brother or a cousin of somebody, and they better have been acting up and fighting some already.
Excuse me, like I'm kind of new to just getting out and meeting the community. Like I just been online, so I don't know the stories of, you know.
You a hidden boss, bro.
Hey, I've been trying to capture this here Pokemon D-Weave for years. How many years I've been telling you to come out? He like, nah, man, I just play at home. Okay, all right. As soon as you got into TTU, all of a sudden you coming out talking about, yeah, man, I play Tekken now. What?
No, Mario. Now you know I was had this kidney situation going on.
I know. I wasn't gonna put all that all out there. You know what I'm saying? I was just gonna rag on you.
Yeah, I could that out, but now, ooh, let me learn how to play on the computer monitor a little bit.
Look, man, I told you I got you, man. I'll never lead you astray.
I'm going out to, if I can get off of work at a good time, I'm going out to Greg's tomorrow.
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can come out there with you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
and
fellas,
then introduce me to that tattoo guy, because I'm trying to get tattooed.
Oh yeah, I'm Theo, man, Golden Anchor. I mean, you know, we've been out here supporting as many people as we can support for a long time. And when Theo was running those tournaments out there, Versus Realm, and I was like, you do tattoos, my guy? I love tattoos. I'm telling you, the tattoo guy from now on. Everybody I know who's trying to get a tattoo, go down to Golden Anchor Tattoo. If you like fighting games and anime, you better go down there, because he loves fighting games and anime. He gonna hook you up right. That's just how we do.
This guy with this red hair or some goggles on my arm.
Look, man, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. And fellas, you know what I'm saying? From my part, you know, I've already talked to Shola about this. Of course, I talked to Greg about this. But you know me, I do graphics. And I talk. That's pretty much what I do. So you know, Iceman, if y'all trying to work on some stuff, you know what I'm saying, let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah, all of us as a crew. Yeah, me and you haven't worked. It's been a while. Me and you worked on anything.
We worked on the early E-League stuff. Remember, you was running cameras. I was setting up audio back there, doing like early Street Fighter days. We was back in the backstage.
I
You
just
know what I'm
asked, I
saying?
said, can we get one audio person?
Right. Yo. Oh, so
Yeah.
check it out though. Well, I don't know if he's available to work, but I am trying to work with an audio person for the stream right now, just trying to get everything set up. But again, you know, like Iceman said, it's all about building that right network. You know what I'm saying? So it's still very much trial and error right now. But shout out to Dylan. He has a good passion for esports and gaming, and I work with him personally at work, and he's gonna be looking to help me get set up with sound and like effects and things like that. So hopefully we be able to know a sound guy pretty soon.
Actually, the Freaknik needs to get documented and taped.
Freaknik is gonna be fun, y'all. If y'all don't know, Freaknik is gonna be a fun ass fucking event. You know, that's what I'm expecting. You know what I mean? It's a lot of love and passion went into the production.
We need to mic up Chop, mic up Mike. Mic up yourself.
So what we're doing is basically this, man. And Cap, I think sometime, I don't know if they're still gonna do a test, but basically we're just gonna have 2 streams running, A side and a B side. So we're gonna be able to.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. We'll let people, just like the 404 Wednesdays is gonna be hosted. Main stream is gonna be hosted on Chop's channel. B stream is gonna be hosted on the House channel, and then we're gonna try to put it all together at the end into one big video. So that first Freaknik event can live on, and then we're just going to want to try to build on that just going forward. So we're going to have 2 streams, 6 commentators, you know what I'm saying? This time around we hand chose the commentators to that, you know, just wanted to get people out there. So on the A side you're going to have Dez, Pleasant Man, and Kari. B side, you're going to have Cap, myself, and RC McPanther. And the 6 of us are going to be rotating in 2-man squads to give everybody a break and keep the hype going. Also, that 3rd man is going to be there to make sure the quality of the graphics are running well. I've already supplied the graphics package to Greg. We're going to go ahead and look through that, make any last-minute changes. Of course, your boy's going to show up in cosplay. You already know we're going to make it a whole lit event.
Can we get somebody there to clean up the bathroom?
Look,
Actually,
man, we gonna find somebody. I don't know how we gonna punish people for that bathroom, but y'all can't just be pissing on the house like that. You don't shit where you play. You know what I mean? That's what I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be pissing and missing the goddamn toilet bowl.
Somebody to have somebody clean, you know, every 2 or 3 hours.
Nah, we need somebody to run up in there and slap somebody in the back of the neck every time they piss outside the bowl. I don't know how we gonna make it happen. I don't know how, but one good slap across the back of the neck while you pissing, you won't piss on the ground no more. I promise you.
Look.
That's just how it's gonna be. Just a whole quick yeet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
But fellas, this was a great discussion, man. I absolutely love the fact that all of y'all jumped on. See, I knew if I put the bait out there enough, I just throw Momochi's face up here. I knew. As soon as I saw Iceman go woo-saw, I'm like, look, we gonna talk about this today. we gonna talk about this today.
Oh my god, bro.
Yo, I appreciate. I personally appreciate the knowledge, man. I'm one who never wants to shy away from hearing and exposing people to the real, you know, and I love the fact that you came in and said great points, but keep it surface. Let me bring it a little deeper, because I think honestly, that's what people need to hear, and that's discussion that needs to keep going out. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's deeper than surface level. Appreciate it, Win, for coming in. This is the first time I seen you on the stream, bro. So glad. You know, now you already know. Now you know where I be at every Monday and Wednesday. You know, and why I have not been able to devote as much time to combo breakers as I would have wanted to. But this is the main project, man. This is the passion project. I love it. And so, you know what I mean. If you can come through more often, we definitely need senseis. You already know, man. I know you got a lot of stuff to teach. You've been whooping my behind for long enough. You know, definitely come in here. My format is gonna be like this, man. I'm gonna have more discussions on the top end, getting into gameplay. But today I really felt like the need. It was in my spirit to let the discussion rock for the whole time. And I'm Cap. As always, I love when you come in here with the opinions. You know, I'm always gonna continue to encourage you to drop your opinions, even though sometimes you wanna you know, censor yourself and give the nice side. No, nigga, bring that real shit. You know what I'm saying? Bring that passion and that fire, because that's what I love to listen to. You know what I mean? D-Weave, you know, I always love, I was so glad that you jumped in here too, man. Like, I'm so glad that y'all felt that y'all could jump in, didn't need no invitation, because that's how it is around here. It ain't just the me show.
Be fired up at your comment.
Look, you know what I mean? Look, that's what I do. I try to facilitate conversation, you know? If I can get the people energized, hey, that means the less talking I gotta do, and that's the better for everybody, because I'm an old man, I talk about shit too much. But with that being said, fellas, I appreciate y'all jumping through. I'm a try to take off the rest of this 420 and do my holiday celebrations. You know what I'm saying, with the libations and everything. For everybody in the chat, pre-gamers, so sorry I could not respond right away in the chat, but I felt, again, very important that this go uninterrupted a little bit. I really wanted everybody to get their thoughts out, and I am going to be putting this up on YouTube right after this because I want this to be posted again and live for a while, man. I want to have more of these discussions. To everybody who jumped in, Kareen, Titus Ballsy, Scrubs to Dubs, RC Panther, pre-gamers, you know what I'm saying, Iceman, all of y'all, Brenlo, Saint, yo, y'all are the best, man. Definitely keep coming through because shit like, man, I got goosebumps, y'all. Shit like this made me feel good today, man. It's real good. Oh, wait a minute.
Man,
Oh yeah, and do me a favor.
What's
Everybody, okay, so if you're in the stream, so I'll put the business email in the stream, right?
Yes, sir.
Do me a favor, email me and let me know what your specialties are. Meaning, okay, I do graphics, okay, I'm in video editing, etc. Because like I said, we are serious about making this an actual network. And if I'm going to outsource, if we are going to outsource, if we're going to pay anybody, or even if we're not going to pay anybody, when we get anything done, I always like to do it in-house first. And then if I can't get it done by people here in Georgia, then I reach out, you know what I'm saying, to other sources or whatever. But I would like to know everybody's specialties and stuff like that, so Mike and myself would know, you know what I'm saying, who to go to, when we can go to him. I wish Tuesday was still around. I don't know where the hell he is these days or whatnot, but I definitely need it, because even when it comes to the Freaknik thing, it sounds super dope, right? But I know Mike was asked about, you know what I'm saying, being a part of it as a player or whatever, but we didn't know anything else, you know what I'm saying, in terms of production and stuff like that. And I felt like we could have made, even though it's the first one, we could have made it so large in the sense of the matches, you know what I'm saying, the build up for it, etc. Because Freaknik should have been advertised during the THT Tag Team Turmoil all fucking season for all 4 months running, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But hopefully the first one is as tight, so therefore, you know what I'm saying, we do another one, then we'll know ahead of time, hey, now we got an actual staff. We don't got just, you know what I'm saying, 6 people here or 4 people there or whatever. We got 12, 15, and we can make it, you know what I'm saying, as large as humanly possible, you know what I'm saying? Oh shit, why did that nigga just text me? Okay, anyway, but yeah, take that email right there, make sure y'all email me, let me know, hey, this is such and such and such, you know what I'm saying, this is my specialty, this is how, you know what I'm saying, I can help moving forward or whatever the case may be, and we can go from there, because I want to be able to reach out to y'all and say, hey, we got this idea, you know what I'm saying, this is what we putting together right now, you know what I'm saying, how can you help?
Oh, for sure. I'm already emailing y'all. And
Yeah,
definitely
I'm sending you a link to the producers that I've been working with. Mind you, I do personally, like, I pay them for the music that I lease from them, and the same goes to like anyone else that you all know. Literally, dog, my whole MO is helping promote, and so in that, I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes and shit. Like, my whole thought process is, if we keep promoting each other's events, it just gets the communication, the voice gets louder. That's how you get these loud ass voices on Twitter and Instagram and all that shit anyway. So it's just that right now I'm sending you a document to producers, and their, not just their hashtags, like their names to their Instagrams and shit like that, but also to like the site. So if you listen to the music and you find different producers that you would be interested in working with, you can reach out to them. Emailing that to you literally as we speak. But again, like, you know, it's just that, and I'm gonna let you know, like, just literally just simply promoting 1920 by 1080 graphics. If you got them, send them my way. I'm not doing anything for like mobile yet, because I'm not in that area of like graphic design yet. Barrio's still showing me the ropes in a lot of ways, but when it comes to editing these videos and shit the way I do, and pushing out promotions, like that little extra bit of promotion that I'm doing right now is literally all just to help out with all the different events. If you got promos and shit that you think that you would want me to run, I'm gonna do that shit. It's as simple as that. And for the larger experience that I'm seeking to provide, and that I'm creating right now, those things will also be implemented in that experience as well. I'm not gonna speak to it too much yet because it's similar to something that we've seen on like G4 TV, some stuff back in the day, and I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, like I said, I'm, like to your point, I'm emailing you now with what I do, and I know we've talked a little bit before, but I feel like this way this will be a bit more formal and pass on some information as well.
Yeah, my email been sent. As soon as you dropped the link, I was like, shit, that's all I needed. Win has been part of the Combo Breakers crew for since midway through its first year, and he was always kind of telling me to that one of these days, me, you, Mike, we all gonna have to sit down and see what can be done. Because again, like you said, I've never saw any of us doing anything that ever stepped on each other's toes, because no one was ever trying to do what the other person was doing. You know what I mean? So it's been a lot of really cool entities just kind of doing their own thing, to be honest, for a while. I mean, you guys have been doing it for the longest out of any of us, right? Most of us are really kind of new in this thing. But we all bring something unique, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, myself, D-Weave, we come from the world of graphics and production. So that's kind of like our mainstay, right? And kind of like how we've expressed ourselves in this kind of space. And I've been working with Cap for a minute, as developing his ideas and helping him just kind of like you said, just learn some graphics, do what he can to help himself and further his stuff. So yeah, let's all chat it up, man.
For sure.
For sure. And I was gonna say something else, but I don't know if there's anything left to say other than see y'all later, man. This has been great. This has been really great. My spirit is uplifted for the day, man. Like, I just feel I can't say again how good I feel. You know what I'm saying? I've seen so many good things happen in this city. It goes up, it goes down, but there are people, like you said, who keep their grind going, and they're always going to be working, and those are the people who are going to be making the things that people will come to. You know what I mean? So I feel like we got a good opportunity here, fellas. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that, Kareen. I always try to keep it live over here, man. This was probably one of my favorite streams so far, and I'm definitely going to make sure this one hits YouTube. Keep that VOD going, because Twitch like to delete my stuff because I'm so young. Twitch, you need to chill out. But with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody for coming into the stream today. This is your boy, Super M, signing out. You're going to catch me here tomorrow, same time, same place. Unless, of course, I'm at 404 because I haven't figured out how to stream live yet, though I almost got that down. I probably should put that part down in the list of things that I do.
We need to get you a stream pack. That's all we need to do.
Oh no, I've already looked into a stream pack, dog. I'm just trying to see how I'm gonna afford it. I gotta make it feasible. I gotta make sure the fiduciaries is right, because resources ain't endless. You gotta get creative. I might have to hack my own stream pack. You know what I mean? I already done figured out how to get every last one of y'all's videos and audio on my stream in separate channels for free, and all y'all need is a cell phone and a wireless connection. I'm MacGyver in this bitch. All I need is a paper clip and some bubble gum, and I make dreams happen. And with that being said, I'm gonna catch all of y'all tomorrow. For me and all of the guests here tonight, I'm gonna say y'all say good night for like the 50th time before I get all this straight. All right, y'all. Peace. Oh wait. Before we go. Wait. I gotta drop a raid on somebody though. I gotta make sure that that's a common thing. Who am I gonna drop the raid on today? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who's streaming right now? That's the one thing I want to start doing, to be honest, man. I want to try to line up my schedule with other folks before and after me, so we could get kind of like a viewership train going. You know what I'm saying? Somebody raid me, I raid the next person. I usually raid Chop right around this. Okay, so wait, no. Coco Konako, I like to raid her as well. Like, that's who we raiding. That's who we gonna raid. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Raid train, man. Raid train. I like to help other people out. So we gonna raid Coco right now. We're gonna keep it gonna keep the good vibes going. Raid Max. Oh, Max is streaming? Oh shit, hold on. Wait. Hold on. I need to support the homie. Hold on, wait.
Max is streaming? Alright.
Yeah, I'm about to raid him. I'll never forget. Is Max's name just Maxta? Because I don't think I'm following, right? Okay, there we go. I'm about to say MAC. There we go. Let's get this raid train going. All right. And now with that being said, I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. All right, y'all. Peace.